Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy Den podcast brought to you by the AAW Network. I'm your host this week for my second go at it. So, obviously, I can't have done that bad a job last time. And my name's Liam, of course. And I'm joined by our regular co host, Kiarn, and our Lord, Savior, Runner, King, Guru, Fletch. I'm obviously trying to get on your good side there, Fletch. But yeah, thank you for joining us once again. Sam's not with us this week. I'm not sure where he's gallivanting at, but I'm sure he's having a good time whatever he's doing. So how are you two? How's your week going?
My ego's doing great right now after that.
Yeah,
And I don't get, I was going to say, I don't get the King's welcome like Fletch, but I'm here alive
not
and well.
yet.
So yeah, can't complain, but I see how it is anyway.
What you've
Yeah,
done there though is set me up to have a horrible, horrible day and be terrible on the episode because you've set me up so much. I can only fall under the bar that you've set. So thanks for that one.
it's all right. Especially with the episode that we're doing today, with it being as we're well and truly in the draft season. Just off air, we were talking about how many drafts we're in. I'm in six at the moment. Fletch, you're in three, did you say? And
Three,
Kia,
yeah.
how many are you in?
At
I
the
know you're in a
minute,
few because I'm in a couple of
active,
leagues.
actively, I'm only in one, which is actively actually two that are currently drafting, but got maybe two or three more towards the end of August, start of September. I'm not as mad as you lot and do 15. I ain't got the capacity for that.
You're
I'm
not
in
there
8 weeks.
yet,
I
but
think
you
that's
are. You will
enough.
be soon. You will be
No, I won't
soon.
be. I need to get a new phone.
I
But the interesting thing this week we've literally concluded it today was the first draft of our 10, 10, and 10
Yeah.
championship, which I'm going to ask Fletch if we can start using the Fantasy Den name for it. I might rename the championship to the Fantasy Den 10, 10, 10 championship. But we've just done that draft and that was very
Yes.
interesting. Very yeah, you had to keep your wits about you with
Yeah.
having to pick so many defensive players as well as so many offensive players. So that was fun. That was good. That was a good draft.
Yeah, it was. I think I got a bit carried away towards the end. I think in like the last 6 rounds, I just went all defense. I looked at my bench earlier on. I thought one of my fucking offensive players got injured. I've had it, but oh well, we're living line. I
Well, that's
Yeah.
it. It's a test run this year.
Well, I tell you what, I find well, one, I'll speak to the PR team. 1 second. Yeah, that's fine. But I tell you what I'm doing this weekend, lads. Like I say, I'm in three drafts at the moment. I'm doing something a little bit different this weekend. So I just thought it's fantasy related, so I'll tell it. But it's a different kind of football. Now, obviously, I've done FPL before. Like, I'm not brand new to FPL this year or anything like that. But do you know what I've never done in FPL? I've never done one of the draft FPLs
I have.
ever.
It was brilliant.
it,
Um,
it's good fun. I stopped
um,
playing it halfway through, but I enjoyed doing the draft and stuff.
Yeah. So a mate of mine got in touch with me about a week ago. Good friend of the network, good teams win, great teams cover Paul. He said a few of my mates, he's from Manchester, he's like a few of my Manc mates, we get together every year in town and we draft live together. And I
Nice.
was like, so what you're saying is Saturday night in town, like absolutely I'm down for that. No child this week. So I'm taking part this in my draft life has just gotten triply exciting because I get to do this one now.
Yeah. I want us so one day I want us to do an AAW in person, all get together, live draft for one of ours. In a room somewhere. Hopefully a bar, so there's a few beers knocking. Oh, I'll tell you where's a good bar. A man in on the show
Yeah,
tonight knows of a very, very good bar.
I do. I do. Great
We'll,
bar,
we'll
but as long
wangle
as
on.
I can only take 4 people in at a time. But
It's all right.
seems
We'll
like
stop
that.
outside when we're not
I've
picking.
I've been
Climb up the
I've been
side of the
to those
building.
kind of clubs. I've been to those kind of clubs. I know
So yeah, as we've alluded there, we're going to do a mock draft as it's draft season. So we're going to do a little bit of a mock draft. But before we get going, let's talk about our socials. So please do follow us on the AN Network socials and our Discord server, which is free to join. You can find all the links on YouTube below our beautiful faces, and if it's on any of the listening apps, they'll be in the description of the episode. So please do join. Please do get involved. Please do comment and chat to us. And yeah, if we make an absolute hash of this draft, please tell us how badly we've done. And if we do a good job or we help you out, please let us know as well. So,
Um, so
Yep.
just to add on to that as well, if you're listening and you're into fantasy football or all that sort of stuff, and you're trying to get into fantasy football, if you join the Discord, when there are free spots in spare spots in leagues that we all know of, we'll try and get them out there and try and get you into some. Obviously, we have a dedicated channel to fantasy football, so you can chat with all of us about fantasy football. And yeah, we have loads of stuff in there that's perfectly dedicated to fantasy as well. If you could, there's plenty to get involved in.
Yeah, it'd be really good to have a couple of leagues on the go where it's listeners v so-called experts, if that's what we're branding ourselves as, or just
You lot, not me, but
or just people who need to get out more, as I've been branded as. So yeah, let's get it. So the main, let's get into the episode. It's just going to be a mock draft today. So what we're doing is Superflex. So for those who don't know, Superflex is where you get the ability. You have one QB and you have the ability to basically play a second QB every week. You don't have to, but the QB usually scores more points. So usually it's two QB starting every week. We're going for two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, and two flex with five bench spots. And then the scoring wise, it's 6 points for a passing touchdown, not four, which I think 6 points is pretty standard nowadays. But just in case anybody wasn't sure. And then it is PPR, but there is no special bonuses for tight ends, running backs, or anything like that. So it's 1 point per reception for anybody who catches the ball. And before we press start on the mock draft, and hopefully that'll Fletch will bring it up on the screen for us. I'm going to draft at the number two spot. We've got Fletch drafting at number seven, and we've got Kiarn drafting at 12. So we get to give a bit of insight on the sort of the start, the middle, and the end of the draft. Sort of. So there's a few different strategies on the go there, and we'll see how that goes, and we'll see how the teams look at the end. We'll recap the teams at the very end, and you guys give us a vote on how we get on. So if you are able to share Fletch, then we'll get going. There we go. So for those watching, you'll see the draft board, and for those not watching, we'll try and keep you up to speed on what's going on. So we're going to get going right now. Okay, so Josh Allen off the board as the 101, which is very expected, and I'm at the 102. So I'm going to go for the newly minted, wealthy running back from the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to go for Bijan Robinson, who's just signed a new contract. Over to you, Fletcher, at the 107.
Yeah. Well, I'm at seven. So team three has taken Jackson Smith and Jigba. Team four has taken Drake May. Team five has taken Jameer Gibbs. Team six has taken Jamar Chase. Um, Let me get up my options down here. I can't remember how to do this on a.
Jamar
There we go.
Chase, I've seen him in more and more drafts, seem dropping a bit further back than where I would normally have him. I've gone Bijan because I just think elite running back gives me options later on, but I keep seeing Jamar Chase dropping more towards the 106, 107, which is quite surprising.
Yeah. Um, I'm thinking here now you've got the two main running backs off the board. Obviously, I would potentially look here at getting Christian McCaffrey, but what I'm going to do here is go with Puka Nakua.
Love that pick. I'm finding more and more in drafts when I'm in the middle, is the guy that I kind of like I'm drawn towards when the main five or six go off the board. Puka's the one I want.
Mm,
So I love that pick.
I'm on the clock at 12 now. But in between Fletcher's pick, we've had Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, and then also similar to B. John, the very handsomely paid Jonathan Taylor, who got extended today as well. I'm gonna go. I tried, well, just kind of before we come on, I tried to leave quarterback a wee bit later. Once kind of Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Drake may have gone. I'm happy to wait. Like I'm not overly
yeah.
huge on taking Caleb Williams now. So I'm going to take. Well, I didn't think it was going to be that, but I will take Christian McCaffrey. I think he is the third best running back for fantasy. I know you have the injury risks and stuff, but oh
Well,
well.
in a redraft league, I mean, it's like there's a huge argument that he will again be the running back one. Like
Hmm.
obviously, if he stays fit, he's going to be a top three. If he's fit, he's going to be a top three running back without a shadow of a doubt. It's just people are put off because of the 1 year he's a top two running back. Next
Yeah.
year he doesn't play. 1 year and blah blah blah. But that isn't a like trend. If it happens again, then fair enough. But you can't draft like that.
It's not going to carry on forever, Ryan.
No.
But to be fair, with how the 49ers are getting on with all their injuries, you never know, to be fair. But
Well, if he does play, you know he's going to be busy because there's nobody else to
exactly, exactly.
utilize.
It's good. It's good for 23 a week, kind of. But what I will do is because I think I've got a pretty good floor with McCaffrey in my first pick. Might be a little bit of a reach, but I'm going to go Justin Jefferson with my next pick. I've been trying to get as much Justin Jefferson as I can, kind of throughout drafts. I think he's going to have a great year.
You love your Justin
I
Jefferson.
do, I do. Mate, if I can get Justin Jefferson and Armin Ra in most drafts, that's where I like to be.
Yeah. I would say Justin Jefferson's been let down a little bit over the last, but this off season, in
Yeah.
most drafts, I still find him in the fourth, maybe even fifth round. And
Well,
obviously, I think that has a lot to do with who's potentially his quarterback in 2026. If it's JJ McCarthy, that's not great for him. If it's Kyler Murray, that's not great for him. If it's Carson Wentz, that's not great. So no situation is great for him, at least on paper. And I think he's suffering in fantasy wise for that particular reason. Um, Obviously following there from Kiarn's two picks, we've got James Cook who goes second straight after, Caleb Williams, Ashton Genty, and Amon-Ra St. Brown goes just before I get the chance to get
Good
him.
seed.
Um, it's called, I believe it's Sod's Law is the official name for it. Um, if you're watching on YouTube, I've gone onto my phone. I'm doing it on my phone now. I'm happy on my phone. Couple of the options again that I've got. I think there's a lot of value still to come potentially around the corner at running back and at wide receiver, but I know someone's going to go between now and next, and that's Trey McBride. And you're not finding many like Trey McBride. I mean, there's a drop off at tight end too, whereas the drop off between potential wide receivers and running backs that I could get here isn't necessarily as significant. So I think I'll cut my chances, jump up a little bit, and
Yeah.
get him now.
I mean, yeah, Trey McBride is definitely the him and Brock Bowers are close, but yeah, Trey McBride is a definite drop off. Interesting to
Mhm.
see Team 10's gone two
Two
quarterbacks. So they've gone
quarterbacks
Lamar
already.
Jackson and Caleb Williams, which is a very I mean, you will see in your league somebody doing that, but it's an approach that I kind of stay away from. Although I do think Lamar Jackson could be the quarterback two this season, so he's maybe got some great value there. Um, I'm looking on the board, and I'm looking at running backs. I'm going to go. When I picked Bijan, I thought maybe I'm going to go hero RB, and I'm going to probably then look at wide receivers. But what's actually happened is a lot of wide receivers have gone off the board and not many running backs. So
Yeah.
I'm going to switch up straight away, and I'm going to go heavy running back. So I'm going to take a guy that I've got really high hopes for this season. Hopefully, his injuries of last season are behind him, and I'm going to go Amari Hampton. And I just think he quite easily jump into the top five.
Hmm. I think
Um,
you will. In my home league, we keep on mocking for it at the minute. I'm picking eight. It's only a 10-man league, and at the time, I'm always taking him in Hampton. I've got him over like Cam Walker, Saquon, Devon Achane. Out of all the other like running backs, Amari Hampton's the one for me this year.
Yeah.
yeah,
We had another double dip at quarterback as well there with Allen and Herbert.
yeah. I forgot to mention. So after Trey McBride went for you, Fletch, it was Drake London. So Team Six have gone wide receiver with Jamar Chase and Drake London. Then Jackson Dart's gone for Team Five. Team Four with CD Lamb, and then Jalen Hurts went. Then it was Hampton for me. Then Justin Herbert, and the guy who I would have taken next goes in Ken Walker. So looking at the board, I've gone very heavy at running back. Um, there's Devon Achan on my list. Obviously, I'm a Dolphins fan, so that's very, very tempting. Patrick Mahomes, I'm not so keen on. Saquon Barkley, he could be back in the contention of running back one, but equally this could be the start of the end for him. AJ Brown and then Jeremiah Love, and I'm not convinced on Jeremiah Love compared to some of these more established guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go. RB, which is an interesting start. But I have just done that in a recent league, and I think the value's there with Devon Achan. So especially with him being a receiving back, so he
Yeah,
could have plenty of catches there for the PPR.
lovely. Well, we've just had AJ Brown after your Devon Achan pick, which solid pick. We've had him as high as in the top five running backs, and there he goes at running back eight off the board, I think. Is that right? Is that eight? I'm accounting correctly. One,
One,
two,
two,
three,
three.
four. Yeah, no, it's running back.
Achan's nine, Barkley's 10.
Achan's nine, yeah. Barkley's come off. So we've had AJ Brown, Patrick Mahomes has come off the board, Saquon Barkley's come off the board, and so has Trevor Lawrence. Now, my instinct here is to probably go running back, seeing as a lot. Again, I don't want to. I want to be careful of this drop off, and the fact that I've not yet got a running back. I'm happy with my situation, not taking a quarterback yet. And right now, I think a lot of where some of this value lies is probably better off what I need in running backs. There is Jeremiah Love, someone who I think at this moment in time, as much as look, I like rookie running backs. I think rookie running backs have not to sound disrespectful to the running back position, but it's the easiest to transition into from college to the NFL, I think. And a lot of running backs, you tend to find them have a little bit of an easier step in than most of the positions. But at this moment in time, there's still, is it 74 running backs they've still got in the running back room? The
Yeah,
Arizona
yeah,
Cardinals.
yeah.
So I just don't know if they're gonna end up giving him split back duties or anything like that. So I'm not gonna be too confident in him. Your next question there is Chase Brown or Josh Jacobs or even potentially Bucky Irvin.
I mean, it's a
Um,
no-brainer for me in that four.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, I'm going Chase Brown.
Yeah,
Good
I think
answer.
I think he's about as as reliable as you can get for a top 10 back.
Yeah,
And the love, I mean, if you're just talking about him before he goes to Yukian, I mean, I think he's going to have a season split in half. I think the first half is
Mhm.
going to be you're going to feel disappointed in where you've probably drafted him, but second half he might very much be a top 10 running back of that stretch. And if he ends up like running back 9, 10, 11 in overall in the season, he's had a very good second half of the season. If you could get him as your RB2 or three, then potentially you're quite happy. But if he's your RB1, you could be pretty disappointed with that guy,
yeah,
that pick.
No,
What
I
do you
think
think?
that's a fair assessment. And the way I would look at it is I'd compare like, do you remember how the early parts of B John's rookie year was for fantasy? So it was frustrating with Tyler Algier was constantly getting touches.
Yeah,
And obviously, I know B John was out touching a bit. It wasn't like by a massive amount. So like I said, towards the second half of the year, we kind of got a better idea of what it was going to look like. So you can imagine it being like that. And the Cardinals, to be honest with you, they're going to win 3 games all season, if that. I mean, like they're not going to be in many winnable football games. So it's going to be a case of like last year, Jacoby trying to throw the ball 700 times a game. So great if you trade him at Bride, but not actually Jeremiah Love. But talent, that aside, his talent's ridiculous. So maybe you do bet on the talent. But I wouldn't be. Like you said, I'd much rather Chase Brown, Devon A. Chain, Saquon Barkley,
yeah,
even Josh Jacobs. I know he's hurt and he's had like legal stuff going on, but I'd still rather just take you with Josh Jacobs. You know what you're going to get. I know we don't do much in the pass game, but
yeah.
you're gonna get someone who's got a good touchdown upside. But onto that, in between Mann and Fletcher's picks, where we've had George Pickens go, who I did have queued, which is great. Jeremiah Love, Josh Jacobs, and Nico Collins. With that being said, I'm gonna go Brock Bowers
Nice.
here. Yeah, and I think if you look at my start, I've got CMC, Jefferson, and Bowers. I know it's three players who had well, no, CMC was great last year, but Bowers and Jefferson certainly had down years last year. But they're arguably the two best players at their position in the league on talent. I know talent doesn't always equal fantasy success, but on a talent basis, there's not many better. Well, definitely in Jefferson's case, there's not many better. You might think McBride's better than Bowers, but even then, it's relatively close. So, and then with my pick at the turn, I'm going to go Dak Prescott. I know Bo Nix is still on the board and Brock Purdy, but Purdy's hurt and Nix has just come off the surgery. And so Purdy plays for the 49ers, who always get hurt. And if all his weapons are hurt, he's not the most mobile anyway. So I'd rather have the guy who is throwing to Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens.
Yeah.
And that's another one. I try and pick him up as much as I can in drafts, along with like a Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence. I think they're just good options to have. Actually, they're both gone. So Dak it is for me.
I think I mean I love that Dak pick. And it's crazy. I've just counted up there. Dak was the 12th quarterback off the board, and I bet you he's inside the top 12 by the end of the season. Like,
100%.
I
Absolutely.
think he'll probably be top. I mean, we've talked about it over and over and over again how we think he could be a top five.
Hmm.
And yeah, look at the weapons he's thrown to. Even Javonte Williams out the backfield, he can
Yeah,
catch the
yeah.
ball. So, like, he's got weapons galore. Where some of these other guys around him, yeah, I mean, they're a bit more risky. Brock Purdy, if he's fit, he hasn't got anybody to throw to right now. And I rate Brock Purdy. I think he's brilliant, but yeah, he's not as good as someone like Dak Prescott. The first
Yeah.
QB off the board for us guys there as well, Kian.
Oh, yeah. Don't know you lot are going to have a quarterback. You're going to have me at quarterback. You're going to have to draft me if you carry on, mate.
I know
Listen,
Geno
I
Smith
see
and
no
Bryce Young.
problem with that. I believe in you, Kian.
Thanks, mate. Someone's got to, eh?
But you lose me a game 1 week, you will be getting WhatsApp messages of pure
But I
Yeah,
could probably
vitriol.
throw the ball 7 yards.
No comment. The I was really, really angry with you there, Kian. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought the board was falling nicely, and I was thinking I might take a quarterback this round. If Dak Prescott's available, I'm taking him. And then you're going like you pissed all over me cornflakes. I'm not happy with you for all of the
Mate,
reasons that you
there's
have
still
given.
Jordan Love.
It's
oh, don't talk. There's Mendoza. Take Mendoza.
it's perfect reason. I like the Brock Bowers pick as well. And I think one of the things that is really good about having someone like Brock Bowers this year in particular is we know that Kirk Cousins likes tight ends. And we know that Kirk Cousins likes to use tight ends. And one of the things that I think we spoke, I can't remember if we spoke about it specifically on this pod before, but I know it's been spoken about on Hurdle the Line, and I've made this case before for tight ends. If you've got a rookie quarterback or someone playing in their first year in the NFL as a quarterback, having a good tight end is so, so valuable
Yeah,
because I think you often find that these rookie quarterbacks, when adjusting to the speed of the NFL, often need a quick out. They might want someone quick over the top. They might want someone quick running out into a flat, which will normally be a running back or a tight end in those quick, short options that again, a rookie quarterback may need, particularly someone like Mendoza, who's a pocket passer, who's going to look to, he's not going to try and scramble and make himself time and try and be a hero. He's just going to get the ball out. So tight ends, like a Brock Bowers. So either way, I think in the situation in Vegas, I think Brock Bowers in for a really good year.
yeah,
After obviously your Bowers and Prescott pick, we've had Bo Nix come off the board, we've had Bucky Irving come off the board, we've had Brock Purdy come off the board, and we've had Brees Hall. My next choice. I think you're in a really nice cushion here, I think, of receivers and a couple of running backs, all of which I think will provide similar value across the board. Um, However, I'm looking at someone here who got paid this off season, whose quarterback, a team that's looking at ascending, looked a lot better when the quarterback stepped in last year as a rookie. He got paid this offseason. He will be the number one receiving the football off Tyler Shook. Give me Chris Olave.
yeah.
Uh, I think he's going to be fantastic for the Saints this year. Obviously, again, just making sure he isn't there in week one.
So, I mean, a great pick there, Fletcher. Another guy who's got paid. I mean, where did we go wrong? We sat here talking about American football. We should be playing it. The money these guys are getting. Yeah, Bucky Irving's an interesting one. I've seen in a lot of drafts him dropping, but I actually think I've come back round. I think I'm quite high on him. I think there's the talk out of training camp is that he's ready to go and or seems to be ready to go, and I think he'll be the number one there. So, but yeah, from your Olave pick, we've probably had or I've certainly feel like I've had a win there because Mendoza went next, which I don't know. In some leagues, he might go this early, but maybe not in a redraft league. Malik Neighbors, who I would have loved to have dropped to me, went after that. Then Travis Achan Jr. got it right for the first time on the channel, has gone, and then Jordan Love. I nearly said Jeremiah Love there. Jordan Love, quarterback, has gone after that. So that leaves me staring down a guy I'm massively high on, and I don't think there's much. I don't think I'm going to consider any others. The wide receiver number one for Patrick Mahomes, Rashi Rice. Looking at the list, he'll be the 13th quarter running back, wide receiver off the board there. If I'm after
Not
right.
there yet, mate.
and yeah, 13th player off the board, and I think he's definitely got I think he'll definitely finish higher than that. So I'm going to go my first non-running back. I'm going to go Rashi Rice, and then on the turn went T Higgins and King Henry. It would have been very tempting to take Henry again there and go four running backs, but I can't. So. Uh, I think there's a couple of players I'm looking at here. So there's another wide receiver option, and there's two I really like here, and that's Ted McMillan and Garrett Wilson. And there's a wide receiver too, as I think they're brilliant. And then the other person I'm really looking at, and I'm very high on, and I know he won't get back to me. And I think he's a step up from what's after him. He's Colston Loveland. Um, I just think I have him a bit ahead of Tyler Warren this season, and I think he could be closer to McBride and Bowers than he will be to the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
So I'm torn between going for getting a really good wide receiver two, or going for what I think is the third tight end off the board. So I'll play a little bit different because I didn't think I'd be in this situation. So I'm going to go Colston Loveland with my fifth pick.
Lovely. Um, that is Michigan man, Colston Loveland. As I'm all dressed up for that pick now.
You
Um,
are.
it's a great shout, and obviously, again, he came in towards. Well, he and Caleb Williams had a much better relationship on the field. Second half of last season, huge improvements from their production on the field, and that's obviously going to carry into this season. There's no way it doesn't tend to, especially when it's a rookie and someone as young as Caleb Williams as well. After you pick your pick there, we've had Luther Burden, we've had Garrett Wilson, we've had Tetaroa McMillan and Jalen Waddle. So what leaves me now is, um, I'm gonna go with another running back just to make sure I've shored up my position here. Um, and I've got two in front of me. I've got Kyron Williams and you've got Javonte Williams. So either way, I get a Williams, which is great in and of itself. But obviously, which one? Um, Kyron Williams has the better projection for the season, I think. Um, but I really, really, really high on Javonte Williams. I was really high on him when he was in Denver. I thought that I had the secret to fantasy football solved when I took him as my number one running back a couple of years ago, and then he tore his ACL in the first game of the season, and I vowed never to play fantasy football again. Look where that's got me. Um, so I think I'm probably going to go with Javonte Williams here. However, there is one thing that's really interesting and something I want to bring up now, really quick. Five bench slots make some of this decision making slightly different because you have obviously you always try to keep an eye on bye weeks and all that sort of stuff anyway. But benches, as far as most leagues I go into, benches are normally a bit bigger. You have a little bit more
Yeah.
flexibility. You don't have as much, so I think you need to be extra careful on who's going to get bye weeks and not. Both of these players have bye weeks that are already taken up by someone else on this roster. So I'm going to go with Javonte Williams, but that's something I'm keeping an eye on very, very closely right now.
I think when you look at Javonte and Kyron, there's like I think they project for very similar seasons, but in totally different ways. I can see Kyron's obviously got Blake Corum behind him, and that's worrying a lot of people. And I think that's why Kyron has dropped as far as he has in drafts. Because if Blake Corum wasn't there, I think he'd be probably a top 10 running back. Um, and then you've got Javonte, but projected in a top offense, projected to get a lot of touchdowns. Where you've got Javonte, who has nobody knocking on the door, but probably won't get as many touchdowns because you can imagine Dak's going to be throwing to CD Lamb and
Yeah.
George Pickens and Jake Ferguson. So they might end up in a very similar position, points wise, at the end of the season, but in very different ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's just before I make my pick, I'll just run over who's gone between me and Fletch. We've had Lad McConkey, who I wanted, another one. I've been trying to get as many Chargers players as I can this off season across leagues. I think obviously the McDaniels offense is so attractive to everyone. Like that's why obviously Liam, you'll be able to tell is better than anyone. Why Devon Achin actually looks good when he's not very good. Tyreek Hill, I'm not saying Tyreek Hill wasn't very good, but Tyreek had all them good years. But It's left me in a weird position because if you look at the board, I've got the choice of Zay Flowers, another one who's been recently paid. I feel like every pick I've made, I've had to say that about someone on the board who's been recently paid. Jameson Williams, who I love, I know you love as well, Leon Fletch. You obviously will love him as well. Jameson Williams fan club there. Um, Devonta Smith, who is now the wide receiver one in Philadelphia, but I don't know how much they're going to be passing the ball. And Emeka Egbuka, who is another one I've been trying to pick up as much as I can. From a talent point of view, I think Emeka's the clear and obvious like player to be taken. But he did like tail off towards the end of last year. But Mike Evans ain't in that offense now. He should be the number one. Chris Godwin's the same age as Liam, so about six there. So, so
I say
obviously
that
a
as a
bit
compliment because I think he's younger.
bit on the no, he's only 31 to be fair. I checked earlier on. So a bit on the other side. So I'm honest. I'm really stuck what to do. But I really probably don't want to be doubling up at receiver. I think Justin Jefferson's kind of a good floor to have, and I think I'm playing it risky by having Christian McCaffrey as my only running back so far. But luckily, I've got two picks because I'm at the tan. So I'll definitely be addressing running back in a minute. I just don't know who to go out of his receivers.
I think if Henderson had have not gone, I think he'd have been a clear, obvious choice for you. But he went and
Do you know what's
fought.
funny? Mate? I've been trying to avoid Travion.
Have
Like, I
you?
don't.
Oh,
It's not because I'm a Bills fan or anything, but I don't know. I just don't him and RJ Harvey. I just do not trust.
see, both of those, like Henderson, I've been a fan of coming into the NFL. I've tried to
Yeah,
last year. I picked him up in loads of leagues. I've continued that this year. Obviously, I felt stupid halfway through last season, but second half of the season, he made me feel like it was a good choice. And I just think if the New England Patriots are going to push on and try and go one better and get and win the Super Bowl, or even get to the Super Bowl again with a much tougher schedule, I think they're going to have to lean on Henderson more than they did last year. And
yeah,
RJ Harvey, I just think they're gonna. I think the Broncos are gonna get something else out of him. I mean, they drafted him fairly early last year, and I think they're just gonna have to get more out of him. And I think he'll
yeah.
give that. Apparently, he's been working hard, very, very
That's
hard
good.
in the off
Yeah.
season. And
If
I
I
think
got paid millions, I'd work hard as
yeah,
well.
yeah, true, true. But yeah, I do think RJ Harvey. I think he's slipping in a lot of drafts, and I do think he's going to surprise a few people this year. But not to sway you.
Me, I'll let, well,
Even
don't worry, I'll let him fall through. I'm not.
he's not getting to me
I
anyway,
won't
to
be
be honest.
taking him. Don't worry. I think that's funny. I'm not sure if you lot have seen like a lot of buzz around like some of these like fantasy like people. A lot of people think Zay Flowers is going to be like one of the wide receivers to watch, to have like a huge breakout. Yeah, I'm not overly convinced, but
He's been paid like he will, though.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like, he gets more. Oh, well, he gets the same AAV as Justin Jefferson, so you know he performs, eh? So I know I'm taking ages here. I am going to go Emeka Egbuka. I think he's got the most upside to go along with Justin Jefferson's like really high floor anyway. And with my next pick, I really do need to address running back. I'm stuck between Cam Scatterby and Bashal Tootin. Obviously, Cam's come off the big injury, the horrible injury to be fair. But obviously he should be ready. He can do backflips and stuff. His nutcase and it should be fine. But there's something about Bashal too, and I don't know if it's because he plays in the Liam Cohen offense where he always seems to get the most out of running backs. I just think he's going to have a really good year. I mean, Travis Etienne, I'm not going to go out and going to try and pronounce you did Liam, mate, they've got no chance, but Travis Etienne just had a great year. So I think I'm going to be going Bashal too in here with my second pick. Well, second pick on the tan.
I love Bayshard too, and I love that pick. I think he'll surprise a lot of people as well. I think there's a lot of loads of people not sure he's going to take the mantle as the running back one.
Yeah.
I think he just will.
I don't know what people think Chris Rodriguez is. When they're watching, they think they're watching Jameer Gibbs or something, the way
I
people run
know
about how Chris
Rodriguez will
Rodriguez
be
is going to take his
Rodriguez
touches.
has his role, but he's going to try and slam it in over on the 2 3 yard line.
Yeah,
Like and he'll have a role and he'll spell Tootin, but just even last year he showed glimpses of what he can do as a
yeah,
rookie. And I just think certainly got the opportunity. There's a lot of hype in training camp about him. He's looking very, very good.
yeah,
Rodriguez hasn't played a minute yet in training camp yet. He's apparently just been cleared, or he's been cleared for next week or something like that.
yeah,
So Tootin, I think he could be. I think he could be a league winner in a league winner in fantasy leagues because
yeah.
you've picked him up about the running back 20, and he could easily be a top 10.
Yeah. Um, an unfortunate reality that I'm gonna have to say right now is Ohio State wide receivers just absolute money in the NFL at the moment. and meet Greg Booker. Do you not think in any way, shape, or form that the current situation around Baker Mayfield messes around with maybe some of the value on Tampa Bay's offense?
Possibly. To be fair, Tampa's a weird one because I know they were bad last year. Like, I can't beat around the bush; they were rubbish. But obviously, I know like obviously Baker's got his contract situation going on. But if he wants to get paid, he's gonna have to play good, ain't he? Like it's one of them ones. It's really it's up to him if he wants to get paid like how he thinks he should get paid. I'm on the fence with how he should get paid, by the way. So I do like Baker. I think he's great, but. I can see
Yeah.
why Tampa Bay won't commit to him long term, but it's the same. I've been trying to avoid kind of Bucky Irving. I know, I swear, whatever Liam says, I'll just say the opposite, don't I? But I know Liam's quite hard Bucky, but obviously with his injuries and stuff, and because we've got, I know Kenneth Gainwell's not Jameer Gibbs or B. Josh Robinson, but like he is all right, eh? But no, I'll bet on the talent with Emeka, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, the high receivers are good, so I know you don't want to hear that, Fletch, especially with your Michigan costume on, costume outfit, whatever you want to call it, mascot.
Yeah.
I think with like Baker, to your point, Kiarn, you're absolutely right. If he wants to get paid like he thinks he deserves to get paid, and his argument that he does, he's gonna have to play well. He can't be just throwing it in and just saying, "Oh well, I don't like. I'm not interested." He's gonna
Yeah.
have to come out, prove everybody that he's worth that 3 4 year contract, and that means if he plays well, then Ibuka plays well, Godwin plays well, Cade Orton's a useful guy. Whoever the running back that's catching, whether it's Gainwell or Irvin, will do well. Like so, I don't think it necessarily does. The only thing about Baker is though, I think he can cause like trouble in
Yeah,
the dressing
can be
room
a diva.
if it's not going his way. So there is that factor, but he could do that whether he's signed a 5 year contract or if he's playing for a
Yeah,
contract. So
he's
yeah,
about to be your quarterback in a minute. To be fair, I mean, I'd
I
start. That's what
know, I
you need
know,
to take one.
I know, yeah. Well, Fletch needs to take one as well, so maybe Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, but he's going to take Jared Goff, isn't
Oh, yeah,
Maybe, maybe not. But see,
he?
I'm gonna say just one of the things on Baker is I absolutely adore him as a player. I think he's brilliant, and I was so happy when he found his home in Tampa.
yeah,
And just playing him every year was a pain in the ass. I mean, granted, you also have Mike Evans, who listen, the Detroit Lions have a lot of defensive problems over the last couple of years, but every single wide receiver one just put up historic, like, career day numbers on our defense for ages. Mike Evans was no exception, and it was horrible to play against him. But you are absolutely right in this as well, in the sense of you're in the NFC South. You have the best roster in arguably in fact, no, it's not even arguably the worst division in the NFL.
hmm
Why are you not winning that by 2, 3 games every year? Why did it get down to the Saints playing the Falcons on the Sunday?
Yeah,
That should be wrapped up for you 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, right?
didn't they lose to the Panthers on the last game of the
Panthers.
season,
Yeah,
and then the Panthers took the
Yeah.
playoff?
So if they won, they would have been in the playoffs
Yeah, they
because
would
they
have
would
been.
playoffs.
have won
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
NFC South. If the Panthers won, it would have gone down to whether the Saints won or the
yeah,
Falcons won on the Sunday. And that's why if you
hmm
watch quarterback season 3, they've got him watching the game. So I think
yeah.
if
hmm
the Saints won, the Bucks got in. If the Falcons won, the Panthers got
The
in, and the
the
Falcons
Panthers
won.
got in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Falcons won. So, um, anyway, so I'm going to say just going off that, you've had Devontae Smith that's gone after you. Kian. We've had Jameson Williams come off the board. We've had Cam
Shame.
Scatterby come off the board,
Another
and
shame.
Zay Flowers has come off the board. Now, as you say there, we need touchdown. I need a quarterback, and yes, I will go quarterback. But will I go Jared Goff? Will I go Baker Mayfield? Or will that be make a little bit of a surprise here and go for someone like a Cam Ward? One of the cool rules I think about this league that we're drafting, it's not just obviously it's a standard PPR. You've got two super flex. Well, so you've got a super flex, but it's a 6 point quarterback passing touchdowns. Now, I obviously imagine that Jameer Gibbs is going to get paid and he's going to be elite this season. He's going to take on so much of that running, the so much of the um the touches at running back. But one thing that Jared Goff is absolutely money for is passing touchdowns. And given that they're worth 6 points instead of four, I think you're looking somewhere someone that's always between 30 to 35 passing touchdowns a year. If we see that, say that's 30 in a 4 point league, that's 120. In a 6 point league, that's 180 points. So the difference of 60. I don't see Baker Mayfield getting that many passing touchdowns, and in the quarterbacks in and around it, I think only Goff's good for that. So for that reason, with the additional 2 points per passing touchdown, I think Jared Goff's absolute money in this position.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Goff's always pretty good in fantasy. He has his off games sometimes when it's a Jameer Gibbs weeks, but then he has his weeks where he gets 5 touchdowns, and that's probably won you the week. So I think that's a great shout. Um, After you, Fletch went Scary Terry McLaurin. Then Cam Ward went to team five, which was good because I don't really rate Cam Ward, so I didn't want that issue. Uh, and then Cam Ward's number one wide receiver, Carnell Tate went, and then Tyler Warren went. So the first of the bots to take a tight end. I was starting to worry we'd overpaid for ours. Um, so that is every team. Every team's got a quarterback now. And then there's one, two, three, four teams with only the one quarterback. And then there's me with zero. So I do my usual QB late. I
I think
don't know what to do here.
that's something that's always been. Again, I think I've said this before on the pod. When I first started playing 5 years ago, you don't take a quarterback in the first few rounds. It wasn't something that you do. So it's and outside of, I mean, it's getting a little bit more common now, especially once certain QBs start to fall. But outside of Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and maybe kind of your Drake Mays and Jaden Daniels is right now, I still don't see a world where I want to be taking quarterbacks that high.
No.
Yeah.
I think the sort of Superflex craze has probably elevated people taking quarterbacks a lot earlier. Obviously, when I first started playing NFL, fantasy NFL, which I'll say it before Kiarn does, was in about 1970.
Mental.
Um, there wasn't Superflex league, so obviously the introductions to Superflex has obviously put quarterbacks higher up. But even in single quarterback league, you wouldn't be picking your quarterback till probably round 4 or 5, and now they're
Yeah.
going. You'll see Josh Allen going round 2. Um, I'm looking at the board, right? So I've stalled enough. Thanks for that little segment there as well, Fletch. You give me a bit of time to think. So in and around the players at the sort of the top of the board here, you're talking Baker Mayfield, then you're talking RJ Harvey, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, DeAndre Swift, CJ Stroud, Quinshawn Judkins, and then Tyler Shook. And because there's two picks till I get back on the board. I feel like I'm not gonna. I feel like I've got to take a quarterback in one of my next two picks, but because Team One's already got two quarterbacks, I feel like I'll play the board a little bit and I'll go non-quarterback. I was very tempted to go two quarterbacks, but I don't think that's the right play. And I'm gonna go down the board a little bit, just purely because I know this player won't get back to me, and I'm quite excited to see. Actually, wait a minute, I might change up. Might change up. Yeah, I'm gonna.
I know you're going to go, you fucker. I think it's the one I've got queued. Go on.
Oh, I'm tempted to do this right. Yeah, I'm going to do this right. So I'm going to take Jordan Tyson.
One of
Is that
them.
the one?
Yeah. I've got two, him and somebody else, but he
Well,
was one of
thank you.
them.
If I can get them both, that'd be epic, wouldn't it? So I'll go Jordan Tyson and then
Well, no,
see
the other
what.
one, you're going to have to take quarterbacks. I think you
I don't
might be in
have
the
to.
blue, mate.
I don't have to.
Not yet.
Don't, don't tempt me.
Long as Bryce
I
Young's still on the board, mate. Aye.
Um,
barring his injuries in college. And I think I remember getting into it. Well, not getting into it. We didn't argue or fall out or anything like that. But I remember slightly disagreeing with you pre-draft there, Kian,
Yeah.
about how we value Jordan Tyson differently. I still think keep him healthy. I stand by. He's the best wide receiver to come out of that draft in pure
yeah,
talent, and
Mhm.
he's a true burner. Put him with Chris Olave. Have Tyler Shook throw into him. I think I wouldn't say it's a punt, but again, you've got to weigh in the injury history there.
Hmm.
But he could be a real sleeper this year. I
He's
have
gone to the
Yeah.
right situation for it. I know pre-draft, I know there's a lot of talk about him doing like falling into like the teens and stuff, like the Ravens at 14. Like that was never going to happen, obviously. But he has gone to a situation where, like you said, he's not going to have the attention to do a team's best defender. They've got Chris Olave, and the good thing is Chris Olave misses so much time as well. So the 1 week Jordan Tyson's not injured, the ball's all his,
yeah.
isn't it? So
Yeah, I think so. We when we chatted last week about the top 10 wide receivers, obviously one of the questions I put to Sam was, do we think any of the rookies coming into the draft this year could creep into that top 10 or push for that top 10? The consensus was probably not, but Jordan Tyson was one of the ones that we thought could potentially, if everything fell right for him, could very much do that. It's a bit of a punt at this stage with him being my wide receiver two. I'd probably prefer him to be my wide receiver three. However, looking at the talent around him, around there, DJ Moore, I'm not sold on. Mike Evans, currently injured, not sold on it. Christian Watson, again, it's a risk, and is Watson more or less of a risk than someone like Jordan Tyson? Rome Odunze, I would have absolutely taken Rome. However, I just took Colston Loveland, so then I'd be have two from the same offense. So that's the reason why I haven't. And then
Yeah.
someone like Cortland Sutton, again, not really as high on him. So I'm taking the punt on him, and then I'll obviously fill in behind Jordan Tyson later on in the draft to try and get some more sort of solid points in there.
Yeah.
Um, so moving on, RJ Harvey went, so Kiarn, you'll be relieved that he won't get his
yeah,
way all the
don't
way
worry,
back to
mate.
you.
If he got back to me and we're going back around to Fletch the round after, I would have not been. You couldn't pay me to take RJ off me, mate.
And then Harold Fanning. So we've had two tight ends go in the last four picks. So tight ends are starting to go off the board. So I'm not gonna tempt fate and try and take the guy that you want. I'm not gonna try and read your mind again, Kian. But it is tempting. But I'm gonna reach for this guy because I think reach. When I say reach, I'm gonna reach in ADP because there's a few teams who need quarterback, and I don't think he'll come back to me. But I'm gonna go for Matt Stafford.
He weren't making it back to you. He was one of my. You did also mention Ray Dunze, who I was also wanting. So fingers crossed he don't go. Eh?
See, not only listen, not to give too much away, but I think most people by now realise we talk a little bit before we click record, and some of us arrive in this digital room at different times. Just before Kian got here, I was sat there like, oh, it's a great draft to try and get Matthew Stafford. Matthew
Yeah.
Stafford's going to be great. So I'd like to take credit for the fact that that's really my pick that I've given to you there,
Thank you.
Liam.
I will say that I mean, I just do not understand why Matt Stafford, like in a dynasty league, like in the dynasty startup drafts I've been in this off season, I've been picking up Matt Stafford left, right, and centre because he's going so far down. And yes, I know he's 38 years old, but he's got a 2 year contract there. So even for 2 years, I'll take him in the positions that he's been going. But in a redraft league, how is he going behind Cam Ward? How's he going behind? Mendoza on this, even Jordan Love. Like, surely to God that Jordan Love went in the fourth round and Matt Stafford went in the seventh in this, and he wasn't the top of the list in the ADP. Like, long may that continue because I'll be snapping him up left, right, and center. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer pick.
Yeah. I think again when we're talking about you used to having like standard PPR, standard fantasy league point scoring for a passing touchdown is 4 points. Mention this with Jared Goff. Matthew Stafford, who throws more and who's likely to throw more passing touchdowns than Matthew Stafford this year? I can't think of anyone. We said this a few weeks ago when because obviously I joined you guys for the quarterback and running back top tens. Like he returns Puka Nacua. He returns Devontae Adams. He's still got all the talent around him.
Yeah.
He's now got he's just Sam, if he's not listening, he's heard me say it so many times. The embarrassment of riches they've now got on that defense is disgusting. Needs to probably be checked out, right? Needs to be reviewed by an independent panel. Because well, Aaron Donald's likely to return now, isn't he? As well, he's been working out in pads.
Had his workout yesterday.
So he's going to be on the field. I think he's going to be on the field a lot more. I don't think many teams are putting together more than three and outs against that defense. So he's going to be on the field a lot more, far more drives. You're looking at potentially 40 plus touchdowns a year. And going back, and I didn't get an A in my GCSE maths for nothing, right? And yes, Jan, you can make this one about me too. It was about 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean, I did my GCSEs 11 years ago, so I can't really talk, eh?
yeah. So it should be relatively simple. 40, say 40 touchdowns in a year, times that by 4 points, that would be 160 points. See, told you I'm good at it. Times that by 6 points, that's 240. That's 80 more points you could potentially get this year that you would leave on the board by not having Matthew Stafford. And yeah, I think I just say it's a reaching ADP, but it's such a smart move. Knowing the point scoring of this league, it's such a smart choice to take someone like Stafford.
You look around and, like you said, who's going to score 40? Who's going to get 35 to 40 touchdowns this year? Looking at the Drake May might, but he's not. There's no definite guarantee on it. Joe Burrow, he's probably up there, but both of them went in the first round. And then you look at the list and everybody else who's come off the board. I would say Dak Prescott would be next, and he went in the start of the fourth, which I think is a great value as well. And then you're looking at Matt Stafford. So I think of all the ones who might get 35 to 40 touchdowns, Matt Stafford going in the seventh compared to Joe Burrow going in the first is huge value.
Last year, four quarterbacks had 30 plus touchdowns in the regular season. Dak Prescott with 30, Drake May with 31, Jared Goff with 34, Matthew Stafford with 46. The,
Yeah.
the points there again, I've just figured out the mathematics there on 40 touchdowns. Well, let's add six more onto that one then from last year. I think it's ridiculous. So it's a great choice. I can't fault it.
I still don't understand how he's that far down. It can't all be age as well. There must be something wrong in the algorithm, and long may it continue till the draft season's over.
Oh, absolutely. And I think to be fair, some of it's as well. It's name and flash, and Matthew Stafford's not a flashy name.
The other
Um,
thing as well, people have said to me is, oh well, he got all in touchdowns last year, but the 2 years prior to that, he got more touch or equal touchdowns or something last year than he got to the 2 years before that. And I was like, yeah, but like, so I mean, last
You
year
didn't
he
have to
did
Bonnie Adams 2
Yeah,
years
exactly.
before that, did it?
Devontae Adams got, was it 14 touchdowns last year?
Yeah.
It does it's a rinse and repeat this year for the Rams. The change is the defense is better. Does that mean that Stafford's not going to need to do as much? Possibly. Doesn't mean he won't throw as many touchdowns though, because they might have short yardage. He might not throw as many yards, but they might still get the same touchdowns. And
Mhm.
you're telling me that he's not going to be looking for Devontae Adams when he's inside the red zone, or he's not going to be looking for Puka, or he's not going to be looking for one of his 48 different tight ends. You can't. He's not going to change. They're not going to change what's working. So yeah, I think it's a great pick.
yeah. Um,
Over to you now, Fletch.
Obviously, moving on to my pick now, we've had Mike Evans come off the board, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, and Quinshon Judkins. Absolutely love those four picks because I didn't want any of them.
Yeah, I love it
Um,
when that happens.
so my next pick, I'm now looking at the fact that I've got every position covered. The only thing I haven't got is, but well, I haven't really got backups at any of the positions yet. So, um, but I do think now having every position covered, I feel somewhat what's the best word for that? I can now open my board back up again. I don't need to make sure something's covered and I've got something. Um, Looking at these next few picks, particularly ones in, I'm not going to go quarterback now because, as I said before, you took the one I was talking about pre-draft and someone I really, really wanted. So I'm going to look at my flex positions. We've got Christian Watson, we've got David Montgomery, we've got Jalen Warren, we've got Ron Dunze, and we've got I think then we're starting to look at some of the tight ends. Now my number one here is going to be David Montgomery. I'm going to take a backup running back and just double check. Oh wait, no, I accidentally pressed Christian Watson. That's fine. Um,
Are you all right with that? I do want to change it.
no, you're fine. I'm not. I'm not particularly overly
You might
upset
get
by this one.
Montgomery on the way back.
Um,
Yeah, I'll leave him.
pot-
I'll leave him.
Potentially. No, it's fine. Honestly, I'm not asked. So Christian Watson would have been my second choice anyway if David Montgomery was off the board. I'm happy with it. Jordan Love, he's going to see a lot of target. Well, a lot more targets this year. I mean, other than Tucker Craft, who they've got that you're really throwing the ball to, I can't think of too many
Well, they
names.
got Jaden Reed and Matthew Golden, neither of which are really like your dominant wide receivers. So I'm really high on Christian Watson this year. Again, he's another one. We talked about Tyson. If he can stay fit, he could be very, very good. And he proved a bit of
Yeah,
that back end of last season.
yeah. And I've always found Christian Watson the last couple of years to be a really reliable target as well. Um, so. I'm happy with the pick. I would be very happy coming away with that pick anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy with
Well,
that.
I've just covered the picks in between mine and Fletch just quickly. So we had CJ Stroud, thank God. Rome Odunze's unfortunately gone. Cortland Sutton's gone. And Tyler Shought's gone.
It
My
leaves
pick
you
is
with the opportunity to go and stack your quarterback after you threw me that I'd end up with the guy that you talked about before.
Oh,
So
mate, I'm not taking Baker Mayfield. No fucking chance. Jesus Christ. Mate, right. So I'm going quarterback. I'm taking Kyler Murray, right? I don't get it. I don't know why everyone's so out on Kyler because after his rookie year, I think he's been quarterback 11, quarterback 7, quarterback 3. Like, he's always been in and around like a top 10 fantasy quarterback. He's now, bear in mind, that was when he was on the Cardinals.
yeah,
Right, that is so impressive. He's now in a situation where he's got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Juwan Jennings, and it's a Kevin O'Connell offense. Like Kyler Murray's probably going to finish like top 5 in MVP voting this year. That's one of my hot takes, by the way. I think Justin Herbert's going to win MVP, but I think Kyler Murray is going to be that good. And Fletch might want to cover his ears. I think the Vikings win the North this season. Well, I hope they do anyway, 'cause I quite like the Vikings. But no, I'm taking Kyler because he's got rushing upside, great weapons. He's on a good team. Like it's a no-brainer. He's another one like not to the level of like Matt Stafford's ADP, but I just don't quite understand it. Like if you said to me, would I rather have Cam Ward or Kyler Murray? It doesn't make sense. It is just obviously Kyler.
yeah.
Like, I'm not being funny. I'd rather have Kyler Murray than Bo Nix. I don't really get it. I do like Kyler, granted, if you didn't get it already, but I don't understand it. I think he's relatively low compared to
I agree. I mean, as well, like CJ Stroud, like I'd rather have Kyler every day over
yeah.
CJ Stroud. And like yeah, there's a risk to it because how he played last year wasn't very good, but he was in a very bad an offense where they didn't really protect him, and he just didn't. And it feels like he needs a fresh start. And like you said, he's got weapons around him. He had weapons at the Cardinals, but different
Not Justin
organization,
Jefferson.
not Justin Jefferson,
Yeah.
different organization as well. And we've talked about this on the show before. He's like bad organizations can make good players bad.
Yeah.
And how often have we seen? I mean, look, let's just talk about who is the reigning Super Bowl champion quarterback. And he was toast, he was done. And he goes to an
Mhm.
organization who put their arm around him and treat him properly. And a well-run organization, and lo and behold, is the Super Bowl champion on the back of a season at the Vikings the year before, where he won 14 games or something and was mid-season was in the MVP chat. So
Yeah.
like he's gone to a great team, great organization, and a great head coach. So Kyler's got every opportunity. If he doesn't do it though, if he doesn't do it at the Vikings, this is probably him done.
Yeah, I'll give you that 100%, but he will do. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately for him, next summer the Browns or Jets are going to pay him unfathomable amounts of money, and he's going to have to live,
No,
yeah,
if he
live
does
with
well at
that.
the
Mate, it
Vikings,
might
the
be your
Vikings.
Dolphins. Could be your Dolphins.
If he does well at the Vikings won't let another quarterback slip.
Mate, listen to this, right? You get a top 3 pick next year. Take Jeremiah Smith. Malik Willis ain't very good. Get Kyler Murray.
Problem is we can't afford him because we're still paying for Tua.
Yeah, but oh well, me will figure it
I
out.
look, I've been a Kyler Murray homer since he got in the league. I really liked him coming in, and I have defended that midget for so goddamn long. I keep saying midget. I said this the other day. I was like, call him a midget. I think he's actually like an inch or so taller than me. Just in NFL terms, he's a midget.
He's five
Um,
foot ten.
yeah, five. Okay, we're the same height then.
You tell
Um,
yourself you're the same height, aye.
yeah. Listen, I'm no stranger to adding an extra inch or two onto what I've got. So. There we go. But I've defended Kyler Murray throughout his entire career, and he's got to a point now, I think, in my head where I'm just like I'm tired of it. I'm similar to you, like I really want him to do well. Obviously, don't want him to do well this year. I need to see, I'm sick of defending it. I need to actually see it with my own two eyes now because he's had those moments where he's looked great, but then like I will keep harping back to the Titans game last season. Now, part of that you had Amari Demercado who dropped the ball half an
Mm,
inch before he got over the line, but he got taken out of the game with a concussion because him and the center he got hit in the face with a football because of like a miscommunication between him and his center. And the category, the just the absolute um just the sheer amount of errors that took place in that game in particular
yeah.
from Kyler Murray. I need to see it more now. I can need to actually see it. And maybe, hopefully, again, not really hopefully from my perspective, but Kevin O'Connell does get the best out of him.
I've got
It,
some bad news for you, by the way, about your offensive coordinator, Fletch, mate. I know it's not, I'm not glad it was wide on all on him in Arizona last year, but yeah. Right, with my next pick,
Li-
as I know I'm just big, so carry on, Fletch, mate.
No, I was going to say, I, we can get into that another day.
Right, well, mate, I'll do a special guest appearance on Hard on the Line, mate. We can debate it if you want. Right, with my next pick, I know I've just said all these things about Kyler, right? I still do need some security. As much as I think he's going to be great, I think it'd be silly if we're looking at ADP. Baker Mayfield's ADP is 64. We're well into round eight. Um, I'm going to just take Baker. He's safe. He's got a good floor. Hopefully, like you said, if he wants to get paid, he's got to play good. So I will take him. Originally, I liked Dunze or Jordan Tyson here, but they're not here, are they? So it's just Baker Mayfield, ain't it?
yeah, I mean that's you probably locked up for quarterbacks
Well,
now as
mate,
well.
that's what you think. I'm taking Malik Willis next round just to be double safe, aye?
You
Um,
wouldn't dare.
Going off that, you've got Jalen Warren who's been taken, David Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson, and Kyle Pitts. Now, obviously, one of the reasons I wanted David Montgomery, but is or initially, well, when it last pick was he's now going to be running back number one. We've seen it in the Lions how even when taking running back two snaps, his average yards per rush, his ability to be able to get those, not just the if what I always thought this about Dave Montgomery, right? If you need third and one, you need 1 yard. He tries to get four. Some running backs will try and get one and make sure you get the first down. He would always try and make four. So if he falls short of that by 2 yards, you have got a first down still. And he was always great to not just get in those short yardage situations where you just need someone to punch it over the line. He was always good for just that little bit more and making sure. And I think that's what separated him from most other running backs, particularly his running back twos, where he could get some of these breakaway runs and be such a valuable asset. Put him in running back one scenario in Houston. I think he could be very, very valuable from a fantasy standpoint. Now, looking at what I've got left. I'm looking at I'm looking at Jared Goff being on his own there and thinking, could I go with a backup quarterback here? Daniel Jones and Malik Willis are right there. Oh, well, I'm not looking at Malik Willis. Don't you worry about it. Obviously, you got Bryce Young and Sam Darnold as well. I like Bryce Young. Really excited by Bryce Young and his continued growth. Sam Darnold, obviously, if we continue off last year, really, really exciting. Well, it's really exciting the potential of getting someone like him. Daniel Jones, but my problem with Daniel Jones is there is no true. You got Lad McConkey, not Lad McConkey, Alec Pierce. Sorry, so just wide receivers. There's not that many of them, so they all kind of blend into one for me. So you've got Alec Pierce, who his potential for well, consistent injuries. He's a great deep threat, but that's about all he's got within himself. I don't see him having enough targets and enough supporting cast. Jonathan Taylor's getting the lion's share of all of that, and most of them are going to be as running back snaps. So I'm not buying too much into Daniel Jones. I mean, Bryce Young is intriguing. Malik Willis is again. He's no. I'm sorry, Lee. I'm just not thinking of that one at this moment in time. Um, I am going to go with Bryce Young, and one of the things as well noting that I've got two players who have a bye week in week 11. I have two players with a bye week in week 14, and I can't afford too many overlaps. Bryce Young's bye week is in week 5. So,
Yeah, good choice. I mean, I would have probably gone Darnold, but obviously you made your very valid point about bye weeks, and that's probably that is a big contributing factor. But yeah, Bryce Young is he's made he's made improvements every single year, so there's nothing to say that he can't take the next step up. And as your quarterback too, he can be solid
yeah.
for certain. So in between Fletcher's pick and mine, Aronde Gadsden went. Um, I've heard not great things coming out of training camp about Gadsden. As in just who he's training with. It looks like he's been dropped. He's looked like he's dropped down the list a little bit. Tucker Craft went then, and then DK Metcalf and Kyle Monongai. I did have Monongai in and around my queue, but that's fine. With me going free running backs early doors and getting free elite running backs, I don't really need to make another move there, but I might get somebody as a bit of support cast later on. Um, so. I'm going to take a quarterback with my next pick. I'm going to play the board again and hope that Team One does not take another quarterback. I might look daft if he does, but there's a couple of options there. Um, so therefore, I'm going to go wide receiver, and I'm torn between basically two offenses and another player. So you've got Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison, both from the Arizona Cardinals. And you've got, for me, Brian Thomas and Parker Washington ahead of Jacoby Myers, both for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then the other one is Alec Pierce, um, who's just been paid a load of money for the Colts. Um, all have the risks because I took Jordan Tyson and he's carrying a risk and we don't know what he's going to be like in the NFL. I'm probably leaning towards someone like a Brian Thomas or a Marvin Harrison who's done it, who's got a relatively solid floor. So I'm probably going to go with the person I think high end. I'm going to go Brian Thomas and hope he recaptures the form of his rookie season. Oh, it looked like a good choice because two wide receivers went off the board straight after Michael
So
Wilson and Mackay Lemon.
I just want to interject here for 1 second, just because this is such a serendipitous,
That's
unfortunate
a big
timing.
word.
I know. I don't even know if I used it right. I just know I
I don't even know
sounded.
what it means.
I
I
just
just
love
know
the
I
fact that it
sounded
was a
really
big word.
photosynthesis when I said it. So as I did the bit about the quarterback and I took Bryce Young and I was like, I could take, well, so could take that Sam Darnold, and you were like, look, Sam Darnold's got the better upside, blah blah blah. I have a second screen here, right in front of me. I've got my laptop here with you guys on it. I've got my screen here where I'm sharing for uh with the draft on, and above it is just a TV. So I've got normally like baseball on in the background. On TNT Sports, on it on the HBO Max app. As we say that, it turns off. Do you know what's up on my screen? Because what's just arrived on HBO Max this week? First episode of Hard Knocks with the Seattle Seahawks, and
Oh,
it's
of
Sam
course, yeah.
Darnold opening his Super Bowl ring. As I'm there saying I'm taking Bryce Young over Sam Darnold, I look up and Sam Darnold's got his Super Bowl ring, just to kick me in the bollocks a little bit more.
Staring at you going, how dare you? Have you got one of these,
Yeah,
Fletch?
Yep.
that's pretty much how it like. That's how it looked on the look on his face looked anyway.
Well, yeah. So thoughts on the Brian Thomas pick over maybe Marv or Michael Wilson?
Do you not just worry, right? That don't get me wrong, because I love both Brian Thomas and Marvin Harrison, right? But do you not worry that like Marv's just got that more upside and his floor is also higher because the Jaguars have got so many mouths to feed, whether it's Brenton Strange, Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, like you've all mentioned, and you've got
Yeah,
obviously Bayshall Tootin to support on the floor, and obviously Trevor Lawrence is great as well, obviously if he uses his legs. But I don't know because I feel like the things what Liam Cohen was saying yesterday was suggesting that they're just going to kind of stick to trying to use Brian on the outside, which is great. Don't get me wrong, that's kind of his strong point, ain't it? But I just feel like they're not going to throw the ball as much as the Cardinals will. And obviously, I know kind of it's the computer AI has took Michael Wilson, but I don't get why people take Michael Wilson over Marvin Harrison. I know Michael Wilson was good at the end of the season
yeah,
when Marvin Harrison was injured, but when they was both healthy, he never out targeted him.
no.
I don't know there's been reports saying that there's a proper battle to see who's like the wide receiver one. It's not. It's Marvin Harrison. I know he's not. I know he's maybe been underwhelming compared to pre-draft expectations. It's still Marvin Harrison Jr. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, Brian Thomas is great as well, but I'd have just got Marv. I think it's safer. And
Well,
plus,
I
you're not
could do, I
bothering as well because doing Brian Thomas's rookie year when he was great, how
Yeah.
much of that success was with Matt Jones and not Trevor Lawrence?
yeah, a lot. I mean, I think so. The swaying, I'm with you there, Kian. I do like in a lot of drafts. I've been eyeing up both Brian Thomas and Marvin Harrison, and in
Yeah,
quite a lot, I got both, and I could do it very. I could pull that trigger here as well. I don't get the Michael Wilson thing because Michael Wilson, just like so, he's fourth year breakout in the NFL. That doesn't happen very often. So therefore, and how many people have a fourth year breakout and then end up being repeating? Not very many. I had Michael Wilson in a dynasty league, and I ended up after having him for 3 seasons. Well, I dropped him in the end of the third season. After having him for nearly 3 seasons, I finally dropped him because he just did absolutely nothing. And then obviously he had a really good season last year, and with Jacoby Brissett there, the chances are he'll have a decent season. But
hmm
um, I do think Marv's the number one there. My
yeah,
only concern with that is if I'm looking at the longer game, I if the Cardinals are as bad as everybody thinks they are, and I'm going to give a hot take here, I think the Cardinals are going to be better than what people think. A lot of people think they'll win 3 games this season. I think they'll win close to six.
fucking hell,
Um, I think they'll
you're
probably
brave.
yeah, I'm not going out there and saying they're going to make the playoffs or win 8 games or something, but I think they'll win 6 games, 5, 6 games, and they'll be a lot closer. That offense is too good to sort of do nothing. Jacoby Brissett's probably going to try and prove a point as well in being paid a little bit more and do that. And I think they'll do better than what people think.
It's just the
Um,
division doing it as well, though. That's in. If I was like Dan Amore or Archman's agent, I'd be telling them you need to look for a house in Arizona as soon as you can, but you can still get
yeah.
them cheap, eh? But
But I think the worrying side is if they do lose as many games as people think, or they're nowhere near the playoffs, or even if Jacoby Brissett's numbers are good, they'll probably drop him and give Carson Beck a go. And then if that
yeah,
happens, then I think Marvin Harrison's end of season might be appalling. And if you go into the playoffs, then you don't want that. You want so that's the only problem I've got. Whereas Brian Thomas, yes, there's a lot of mouths to feed, but as an outside wide receiver, he's better than Jacoby Myers, I believe. In my opinion, as a obviously Parker Washington's got the slot role, and Parker Washington did a lot last year. But I do think there was an issue with Brian Thomas. I do think he was injured. There was something came out said he suffered from was it a wrist or something
it's
injury
weird. Yeah,
early in the
I
season.
don't think he was overly confident when he did play, but because he had a few drop issues and stuff. And I
Yeah,
think probably if he's not confident, not fully healthy, like you give the kid a break, eh?
and you remember 2 years ago Tyreek Hill had a similar injury, and Tyreek Hill people were saying what's going on with him, and
Mm.
these injuries are hard when these guys are throwing the ball fast and they're in impact injuries all the time. And then he sprained his ankle in a game, and to be fair, he just started to look good again or decent to the back end of the season. Then sprained his ankle mid game, and then he kind of
Yeah,
never really did anything the rest of the season. So I'll back that he'll bounce back. I don't think he'll be quite as good as his rookie year. I'm not expecting him
yeah.
a top five wide receiver, but he could be a top 15 wide receiver. Um, and I don't know whether everybody on the board's now got two quarterbacks. So this is where I'm a bit of a gambler, and I usually try and hold back and go like, will somebody get the third wide with the third quarterback yet, or will they be filling up the rosters? And I'm tempted to play that game. Um,
Maybe I'll take Malik Willis just to be a both. I'll take Malik Willis and Daniel Jones my next 2 picks just so. But
that
actually, next 3 picks I'll go quarterback just to make sure.
that's fine, but you won't be able to field the team. That's
Don't
so
matter
I'll,
me.
I'll beat
Not
you.
a problem at all.
So I am going to play the game. I'm going to play the game. I'm going to play the risk, and egg might appear on my face, but I'm going to shore up my running back room. I'm going to get myself a fourth running back because they're looking thin now. Um, I have bye weeks in 11, 7, and 6. So the guys I'm looking at haven't got those bye weeks. I'm torn between Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. And I think I'm gonna go Tuba because I don't think the competition's there, although Jonathan Brooks is getting a lot of hype in a lot of leagues. But I'll go Tuba because I think the talent's there. He gets paid well, and I don't think Jonathan Brooks is going to do a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So, damn it. Blake Corum has gone to after that you got Blake Corum's gone, Laporte, Sam Laporte has gone, hence the damn it. Jacoby Myers and Tony Pollard have all gone. And I was gonna say I was really, really looking at potentially taking Sam Laporta there as my backup tight end. Obviously, unfortunately, we'd have the same bye week as Goff. But if there is one thing I can be sure of with our brand new offensive coordinator is that who did he have under his team last year?
Trey McBride.
Trey
Yeah.
McBride. There are two things that he really likes and has generally done quite well in, despite having the lanky streak of piss that is Jonathan Gannon as his boss. Um, is he's generally done quite well with running backs and not had he's not had the great success, but then again he's not had a Jameer Gibbs at his disposal in terms of running backs. But he has made a huge leap with Trey McBride and someone that I think Sam Laporta could see a little bit of a revival in his receiving game, especially as Jared Goff looks to find someone more steady in the end zone and some of those red zone situations. So, excuse me, with him gone, I would like to potentially, again, I want to shore up one of my positions. The only position that is shored up right now is the quarterback position. So I could go tight end, or I could go receiver, or I could go running back. And where I'm kind of looking at here is some of the key options are Kincaid, Parker Washington, Marvin Harrison, Rico Dowdle, Alec Pierce. Well, I'm not even bothering with Alec Pierce. Chris Godwin. I'm going to go out there and I wonder if anyone can figure out why I'm not going with Marvin Harrison. That's not happening. Also, trying to take into account, again, bye weeks. No one has a bye week in week 7. So, just for the reason of, look at Brian Thomas over there when you took him. Yeah, they've got a lot of mouths to feed, but one of those mouths is going to win out on getting the most food. I'm going to hedge my bets on it being Parker Washington over Brian Thomas potentially.
With it being PPR as well, I think Parker Washington's a great shout because what he was last year was he was just a reception monster.
Yeah.
Um, Before you go to you, Kian, there's some really weak looking running back rooms. Team three, especially. Kyle Monongai and Blake Corum as a running back room. That's not. And team nine only have one wide receiver currently in Roma Dunze. So there's some strange choices here, some unbalanced teams, let's say.
That's AI for you, mate, I suppose, eh? But in between Fletch and myself, half the picks I wanted gone because I wanted Kincaid, Dowdle, or Marvin Harrison, but that's fine. I've gone along with Alec Pierce, who I wouldn't touch with a barge pole. So
I
let's
like
maybe
Alex Pierce this year, you know. I mean, I don't think he's going to be a reception monster, but they paid him, wasn't it something like 140 million?
ridiculous money for someone who only catches deep balls.
So they're going to have to. I mean, that's the worst investment imaginable if they're only going to keep him playing as a deep threat. Surely they're going to have to bring him in as something else.
I'm not. Hopefully I can draft the player I'm about to bring up in a week. But I'm not drafting him now. But I'm not sure if we've touched on Josh Downs at all, Leon. But I love Josh Downs. I think he's great, and I think he's gonna have such a good year. I think, like you said, with Michael Pittman's targets vacated, that slot role is just Josh Downs.
Yeah,
And here's another one where you can see him probably in like similar to Parker Washington. He might not have the same touchdown upside as Jacoby Myers or Brian Thomas, and in Josh Downs' case, Tyler Warren, JT, and Alec Pierce. But he will get targets, especially with
he
Daniel
will. Yeah,
Jones just coming off that Achilles. He might not want to take so many risks. Like Josh Downs will get targets, and I think he'll do well. But it's left me in a weird position because I really like my team. Don't get me wrong, because the way I look at it, Brock Bowers is like having another wide receiver. So is Christian McCaffrey.
yeah,
But he catches the ball more than he fucking runs it. But
yeah.
I do need pass catchers to be honest with you. It's looking a bit thin, but the one I wanted is gone. So
And the top of the ADP board, unfortunately for you, the two
yeah, I'm
from
going to take
you've
them so
already
you can't
got.
take them, mate. You will be having Daniel Jones as your quarterback or
Oh,
Tyson Hill.
I meant wide receivers, mate. I meant the top of the wide receiver board is Godwin and
Oh, so I thought
Addison.
you meant in general. No, no.
No, no.
Um, So I'm in a bit of a weird position. I'm going to shore up my tight end position, even though I don't need to. Silliest thing I've probably said this episode, along with everything I say, to be fair. But I'm going to take Dallas Goddard. I think his touchdown upside still there. I know there's Eli Star was and is a rookie and stuff. Do when the Eagles get in the red zone because the touch push suddenly isn't as effective as it used to be. Saquon Barkley is getting on a wee bit. Dallas Goddard gets so many targets in the red zone, and he is Jalen Hurts' go-to guy in the red zone. So we'll take Dallas Goddard. And my second pick, it might be a little bit of a jump. It's a weird one because the news coming out of training camp's been weird whether someone's going to be back in time. I'll explain. So I'm going to take Jadavian Price, right? And I've been still trying to get him as much as him as I can throughout drafts. And it is a bit of a jump because his ATP is like 140 odd. And there's a lot of talk about Charbonnet being ready earlier than expected. He's still coming off a big injury. He might be ready early. He's still not going to be 100%. Jadarian Price is clearly talented. I think he gets knocked a bit because he wasn't even a running back one in college. Like that doesn't help because there's a generation of running back on his team. But
Yeah.
I like it. He's in a good team where outside of JSN there's not much talent in offense. I like it. Cover your ears again, Fletch. Me. I like AJ Barner. I don't think he's that good. You know what I mean? He did go to Michigan, didn't he? I've not just made that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he did. Thought he did. So yeah, but no, I went Jadarian Price. I thought maybe good upside. Good upside.
I like Price, especially as the season goes on. He's got the opportunity to earn the job, and then if he
Yeah.
does a good enough job, he's going to be valuable. Even though Ken Walker and Charbonnet were frustrating last year, but if
No,
you
no.
as you're running back 3 or 4, having somebody on that offense who on any given week can put up 15 points and that I mean that's an absolute no-brainer. To be fair, I didn't even realize he was still on the board. That's a great shout, great value.
It's similar to Matt Stafford. His ADP is awfully low, and there's no reason why it should be, other than the fact that unless you think Zach Charbonnet's got fucking whatever Superman, what is it Superman has in him but makes him proper strong? Unless Zach Charbonnet's got that in him, I can't see him being like 100% like to start the season. Eh?
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
I think one of the things as well, though, we need to remember with Jadarian Price in a draft that doesn't have Jeremiah Love, he would be the clear number one in the draft.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the only reason he wasn't RB1 in college was because who was his RB1 in college? Jeremiah Love. Like, it's
Mhm.
Notre Dame last year had an embarrassment of riches. I speak about embarrassment of riches a lot, clearly, mostly when I talk about the Rams right now. But the running back room in Notre Dame last year was nasty. They had the two best running backs in all of college football, at least coming out of college football going into the draft, in the same running back room. And I think you're absolutely right there, Kiarn, in saying that it's not fair to hold that against him when you're right behind Jeremiah Love. Every single time Jadarian Price touched the ball, he was ready to. He could hit a home. He was a home run hitter, just about every opportunity he could get. So I think it's really. I like the fact that you've shown him some love there because he deserves it. In between myself and Kian, Chris Godwin's gone, Hunter Henry's gone, Jordan Addison's gone, and so has Jake Ferguson. Um, Seeing a little run again of tight ends makes me wonder if I should try and get a tight end in now as bit of backup. Obviously, if I try and make sure, obviously, well, I've got Trey McBride, whose bye week is in week 14, so obviously you want to try and avoid that. Um, couple of the tight ends left at the moment, or at least top of the board. You've got Mark Andrews, Dalton Schultz, George Kittle, who I'm trying to avoid literally anybody associated with San Francisco. Um, you got Joanne Johnson and Brendan Strange. I'm avoiding Travis Kelsey for the most part. So I'm not going that far up. This is a really tough one if I want to go with a tight end. I'm also trying to check.
That's the funny thing with tight ends. They do once like the first 7 or 8 go, it's so bleak when you look at the names. You're like, do I really want Hunter Hammer? I don't ever. If you look at our board, every tight end after Kyle Pitts, I mean, no, not Tucker Craft. I think Tucker Craft obviously there's risk. He's just coming back from injury. But after Craft and Pitts, right, you look at that board and think, fucking hell, like if I've got one of them, I'm in trouble. Like,
Yeah,
unless you've already got a tight end, obviously that is.
yeah. Um. Oh, by the way, just while you were mentioning that, Liam, before about teams that are looking thin, you look at Team 3 there, who've only got Tyler Warren. thing, but I'm looking at Team 4 who've only got Travis Etienne, um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then went on a run of four wide receivers on the
To be fair,
bounce.
PPR league, he's got a point. Is PPR.
Um, yeah, yeah. To be fair, but I'm gonna go with based on. I'm gonna say mixing with again, remembering bye weeks and trying to make sure no this bye week doesn't clash. And Lamar Jackson's coming back. Hopefully, Lamar Jackson stays in for a year. It's not his favorite thing to do in the whole wide world, but Mark Andrews had a couple of problems, seeing potentially improving on, having a couple of bit of crappy drops and things like that
Yeah.
last year. I can see him a little bit of a bounce back with Lamar Jackson throwing to him.
I do think Mark Andrews will bounce back. There's no Isaiah Likely now.
No Isaiah likely, eh? He's another one.
And
He goes so late in these drafts. I'm not sure if
yeah,
you used to have seen whilst we've been drafting. Isaiah likely goes really late for some reason. I know Theo Johnson's in the Giants tight end room as well, but
yeah. Yeah, so after Mark Andrews, George Kittle went, who I was interested in. Then two running backs in J.K. Dobbins and Kenneth Gainwell, and then Team Three took Dalton Schultz. So I am still light at quarterback. Uh, I'm looking running backs look really thin, so I'm really pleased I took Tuba in that last round. Um, Wide receivers is interesting. Wandale Robinson, he's not the most glamorous pick, but I think he'll do a good job there. Michael Pittman, Quinton Johnson, and then Stefan Diggs, who's just signed with the Commanders. Um, or certainly on Sleeper, it's saying he's signed. So that deal's obviously gone
there
through,
it
which
is.
is a bit of news. So that could be an interesting one because they're obviously quite a light receiving room. And then Romeo Dobbs and Jaden Reed. Tight end, you've just mentioned them, Fletch. So there's a chance I might just go double quarterback here and get it done with. So the issue I've got, the reason why so Sam Darnold is the obvious play. Now, Sam Darnold's bye week is the same week as Matt Stafford's. So do I
Yeah.
take the hit and just play one quarterback, play my third choice quarterback at that week, or do I try and do I go something like Daniel Jones or Malik Willis? Tua Tagovailoa's there, and his bye week's week 11 as well. He'll probably be injured by then. So, and then Jacoby Brissett is in week 14, and that's probably all that you need to talk about. So, I do think Sam Darnold's a better quarterback, but I'm going to go Malik Willis.
Wonder why. Turn that out around Liam, mate, eh?
I think I think one of the things as well with Malik Willis is if we expect the Miami Dolphins to not be very good this season, which
They're not going to be.
I don't think anyone does expect them to be great this year.
Fair, Liam thinks the Cardinals can get 6 wins, so I wonder what he fucking thinks. Dolphins are going to get 11 wins to win the division.
You know what I think we'll get? The 101 next year.
Um,
Arch Manning.
No.
but look, when you've got a new head coach, it doesn't matter if you want pick 101. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to win a Super Bowl. It kind of does. But the one thing you really, really, really don't want is to get blown out every single game. You want to show that the team has a lot of promise, and you can put Malik Willis into the team and still be competitive because it says a lot about the supporting cast. It says a lot about the scheme that you run and how well prepared you are and all that sort of stuff, even if you lose most of the games. So you're going to at least want to try and stay competitive, but the idea is probably going to be that you're going to be a couple of scores down most games. If you're going to try and stay competitive, show that team spirit, it means that Malik Willis is going to have to come out slinging the rock a little bit,
Yeah.
third, fourth quarter. You might benefit having Malik Willis as your quarterback in fantasy football purely on the basis of stat padding, in air quotation marks for those on audio. Of just third quarter, you're down by 2 scores, down by 3 scores, so you just come to slinging the rock a little bit, and you might end up, like I said, you might not benefiting just based on that alone.
Yeah, I think he, like I've said this before in the pod, and I didn't necessarily pick him there. Being brutally honest, Sam Darnold was the choice because he's the same bye week as Matt Stafford is the only reason I haven't picked him. Um, Malik Willis has the running upside, and in that offense, you might find he's running yards might be up at like 600, 700 because he might be looking for an open guy and there's nobody there.
Mhm.
So that would obviously bulk his stats out, and then yeah, like you said, third, fourth quarter, he might be behind the game and he might just have to throw the ball, and that might help. I'm not massively high on the Dolphins season. I'm really not. But I do think Malik Willis could be useful and going at about quarterback, what, 26, 27. He's probably not bad value. Um, I'm struggling to think who my next player will be. I feel like I need to go wide receiver. Like I said, I could have gone two quarterbacks, but Sam Darnold having the same bye week as Stafford just doesn't seem any point. So um, I'm looking at wide receiver, and I'm going to reach a little bit, but I just think this guy probably wouldn't come back to me, and I'm going to go for another rookie. I'm going to go for Casey Concepcion, um, just
All
because
yours, mate.
uh, just because he doesn't match any of the bye weeks of my current wide receivers, and hopefully he'll be the Browns' main target.
Taking it, you've just seen that notification, Fletch, mate.
Not yet. Hang on. Three. Indiana Red
No,
Rusher.
Adam
Tell them
from
I
Adam Schefter.
no more joke. I know. I gathered you weren't on about the Indiana Red Rusher.
No,
Um, hang on. No, I don't get his notifications anymore. Don't know why. I think it's Jameer Gibbs.
yeah.
Give me a second.
Wow, what's
Mate, by
happened?
the way, this board's looking terrible. Like I still need
So
pass
what
catcher.
what we're saying is breaking news on the Fantasy Den podcast. Jameer Gibbs, 3 years, $67.5 million. Yeah, that was saying we're breaking news right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that not less? Is it all guaranteed?
67 guaranteed, 75 total.
So it matches Bijan.
Just about. It makes him higher paid than Bijan, but they're in the same. Yeah,
these are stupid tweets, right? No, it's 51.5 million guaranteed, worth
right.
up to 75.75 million, but it's a 3 year 67.5 million. There's three different price points here. I'm always
It'd
stood
be
by.
incentives, won't it?
Yeah, incentive
No,
based.
I
It's
know,
made
but
like an
like
all-pro team and stuff.
it's no, I know, but incentives are normally like here's your guaranteed money,
Hmm.
here's your here's your entire total based on incentives,
Yeah.
or what its value could be.
Mhm.
But these now there's a third one introduced, and I think it's ridiculous half the
It
time.
is. It's just media way of making things more.
Mate, both in a contract or paying up.
Yeah.
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 Um. On that note, one, get in. Number two, also gone in between Liam there and my goal now has been Jacoby Krosky Merritt, Wandale Robinson, Juwan Johnson, and Michael Pittman. I think the only position that I have left to, I think, shore up at least in some sort of way is running back. Um, because I only have two, and one of them's out, kind of screwed. So I'm now looking at some of the running backs that are available. We've got Aaron Jones, we've got Tyler Algier, we've got James Conner, Zach Charbonnet, Will Marks, Tyron Tracy. There's a few. Um, it seems ridiculous to go for. I'm kind of stuck here now because Aaron Jones is I think for me the obvious choice here in terms of the
Yeah.
best talent available. However, his bye week's week 6. That's with Chase Brown, which would leave me in week 6 with only Javonte Williams at running back. And it's a two running back league, so I'm kind of screwed there. So I'm looking at who could potentially be picking up more. For some reason, then I was looking at Jordan Mason, same exact problem as Aaron Jones in it. So play for the exact same team. I'm not taking anyone on the Arizona Cardinals. Not taking Algier. Not taking Con. Not taking Benson. So my next best option, because I've kind of forced my own hand, would either be uh, Woody Marks or Tyron Tracy.
Spoiled for choice, mate.
So spoilt for choice. And again, I'm stuck with. Actually, it's not too bad in terms of lining up with other bye weeks. The only other bye week in week 8 is Chris Olave. Um, Listen, this is a case of I'm going to sneeze and accidentally press Tracy here.
Yeah,
Wolves.
like I said, I was just saying, whilst I was looking at the Jimenez, none of us are going to be spoiled for choice. I mean, Liam still needs three quarterbacks to be fair. Looking at his quarterback room, none of them are actually good. So he's in an all right position, but other than so it's left me in a position where so just to cover, we've had Utah Tyron Tracy Fletch, we had Aaron Jones, Quentin Johnson, who I was going to take, trying to get as many charges as I can this off season. Travis Kelce, Tyler Algier. So. Um, I kind of have to back up my word. First pick, I'm taking Josh Downs for the exact reasons I spoke about 10 minutes ago. He
Yeah.
might even lead. Well, I mean, he's not going to because Tyler Boyd's there, but he's going to get so many touches in a PPR format, he can't go wrong. And then looking at my team, kind of, I think I've got all right depth everywhere. With my three spaces left, I really want to get another running back just to be safe, another pass catcher, and then I don't really know, maybe another tight end because there is someone I quite like. But who I will be taking here, because I'm not sure if I've said it on here before or not, I don't like Terry McLaurin. I don't actually think Terry McLaurin's that good. It's another one where it's always like he's going to break out, he's going to break out. It's 30. I mean, he's not going to break out. It would have, I know, granted, his quarterback situation up until 2 years ago has never been good, but I just don't actually think he's that good. Like Stephon Diggs is not just as good. No, he is just as good as Terry McLaurin, if you ask me. I mean, I'd have took Stephon Diggs back on my bills. Terrible human, great football player, but. I will be taking Stephon Diggs here. I did want to take Thingamajig. Is he gone? Yeah, yeah, it's Jacory Crosby Merritt's gone. I was going to take him, but because he's another one. That in the Washington running back room, there's just no competition. Like it's just terrible. And that's why I think I tried to. I was saying, I'm not sure if you've seen them. They're in one of the dynasty leagues, and I've been trying to shop Jaden Daniels. I just don't like the Commanders. I think they're rubbish.
Yeah.
It does. I think the idea of they're going to be good or like I just don't get it. They don't appeal to me. I don't want any of them on my team. It's a weird one. But saying that, I'm taking Stephon Diggs as a commander, so ignore the last 10 seconds.
We'll have to talk off air about if I can do a deal for Jane
Wait,
Daniels.
that's funny. I looked at your team, but I thought to myself, what, like, I don't know, because have you seen my team? I should be contending, eh? I've got a contending team. I
I
don't
don't.
want to be selling. Like, I got an offer. I don't really know anyone in the league. Mate, he offered me Terry McLaurin, Jacory Crosby in 2 seconds. I thought, mate, I fucking hate the Commanders. So I
Yeah,
counted
you don't
him.
want to double down on
Wait,
it.
and bear in mind, I'm playing in week one, right? And he has Dak and George Pickens, so I offered him back. I said I'd give him Jaden Daniels, T. Higgins in 2 seconds for Dak Pickens, a first from him and another player, but he counted me back and then just put all seconds, so I just rejected it. I thought, I'm not overly fussed. I want your 2020. At least need a 2027 first and someone to subside because I'm pretty sure my second quarterback might be Jared Goff. And don't get me wrong, great as like your Superflex quarterback, I wouldn't be overly confident with him being like, oh, this is
Yeah.
our best
Actually,
quarterback.
I was gonna say you taking you said you want the Vikings to win the North before. You taking too many shots, man.
No, but
You'd be
I
out.
don't get me. Honestly, I quite like the Lions.
No, I was just gonna say take a shot at Jared Goff. Like you'd be out of the
No,
network
me.
before the episode
I like
finished.
Jared Goff. Oh, let me just add this in quickly. So me and my mates are going, like a couple of my mates are coming to NFL London with the first time, like for the first time with us this year, right? And we've all decided we're going to get each other a jersey, right? Um, one of the boys who's coming, like doesn't like don't play fantasy. He's not really into football at all, but he said he'll take part in the jersey swap. One of my mates got him a St. Louis Rams Jared Goff jersey, and I said if I'd never watched football before and someone gave me that, I'd be fucking fuming. Like I'm gonna go on TikTok or YouTube and put in Jared Goff highlights, and it's gonna be fucking screen passes to Armin Ross and Brown and fucking dump offs to Jameer Gibbs. You ain't gonna have much to watch, eh?
Listen, we don't call him Jared Vick for nothing in Detroit, right? Or Jared Wheels for nothing. I'm just saying. Um. Anyway, back on to so as you've done there, Kian. Obviously, you've taken Downs and Diggs. Sadiq, Kenyon Sadiq, Juwan Jennings, James Conner, and Khalil Shak. Oh, god damn it. Khalil Shakir has gone. He was the one I was queued up for my next pick. uh, you talk about Stefan Diggs not being a very good human. Obviously, that's an objective truth. We're not going to get too much more into that. But Juwan Jennings is one of those I find hilarious because if you remember why is his name escape me now? The Cleveland Browns defensive tackle, Shelby Harris,
Yeah.
last year after they played the 49ers. Do you remember the quote he came
No.
out with after? Do you know when they do like, the locker room interviews?
Yeah, yeah, like a scrum in the locker room, yeah.
He was like, "That man's a hoe. I want that known." And the week before, there's actually a video. If you watch Joanne Jennings, he stood on top of, I think it's a DB, and someone kind of takes a swing, but he stood over them.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I remember.
the swing is at his cup.
Yeah.
So it's like I see what I understand why he was punched in the nuts. It's just a quality. Like the whole interview was fantastic. Like he says things to a man that you should never say to a man. All that sort of stuff. Absolutely love it. Quality interview. So if you're looking for some really fun content, Shelby Harris on Joanne Jennings, the locker room interview, solid. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shore up just a little bit more than likely, my wide receiver room. In fact, let's just see who else we've got. We've got Sam Darnold there, got Daniel Jones there, got Ty Simpson there, um, Isaiah Likely, Romeo Dubs, Jaden Reed, Xavier Worthy. I'm gonna be careful of. Let me just double check. We've got a 5 and a 6. Do you know what? I'm willing to take my punt on him, and just so I can make sure that Liam doesn't get him, taking Sam Darnold.
Good pick.
That's all
Great pick,
right.
even.
That's all right.
Do you know, for 12th round, that is phenomenal value.
That's great value.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Leon was saying, he was saying to me the other week how big of a JJ McCarthy and Michael Penix fan is, so he'll take one of them.
they are my boys, yeah.
Yeah. And Garrett Nussmeier as well, just in case.
Well,
I
yeah,
could
they
probably
are
tell.
all valid options.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm forever indebted to JJ McCarthy. That man took Michigan undefeated and won a national championship. He's a born winner. Number 9. That's my 9.
So my pick was going to be Jaden Reed, except for he's just gone. So I'm guessing at some point AI is gonna go back around for quarterbacks, and I'm guessing it's probably gonna be the next round. If it's not the next one, it'll be the last. So to prevent that me being left with Geno Smith,
Ain't nothing wrong with Gino.
there's Geno and Aaron Rodgers though. They could be my last pick. That could be
To be
fine.
fair, fits the theme of your tight end age, your so quarterback age group, eh? Well, not Malik Willis, but fit in with
Yeah.
Stafford, eh? Get the granddads in.
I'm tempted to take Daniel Jones, but I just really don't like Daniel Jones, and I'm just tempted to take him because he's the best
What's he done to
of the
you?
rest. Just many years of fantasy hurt.
I think, do you know what? I fully get that. In early days of the network, we did have a Giants fan on, and everyone likes to remind the Giants of the time that Daniel Jones broke free and tripped over his own feet with a clear end zone in front of him. That's never not funny.
It cost me a win in a league, and I think it cost. I think I missed the playoffs by one win.
So yeah, Daniel Jones, like I get it. But one thing again, looking at last year, is I know the Colts collapse started before Daniel Jones went down, and no one can really make that argument that it was Daniel Jones going down. But what Shane Steichen's done with that offense and how he's broke it's a really complex offense, but it's not complex to run it. The
Yeah,
complexity comes with the skill positions and how receivers run routes, how Jonathan Taylor is incorporated into it, and it's complex for defenses to understand, but like I say, it's not complex to run. So I don't think overall, if they continue in the way they were going, I actually don't think that Daniel Jones is all that bad a pick when you consider that it's a well-run offense when it works.
yeah. Um, yeah. I think so. My thought process is Daniel Jones or Jacoby Brissett, and I think because Jones will play the season and Jacoby Brissett won't, even though he's come back off a bad injury. I'm really tempted. I'm looking at team one. Team one definitely need another wide receiver, so they could go and take two wide receivers here. So I have got a wide receiver at the top of my list, and I was looking at someone like Matthew Golden or Shaheed, just purely because of upside. And I was thinking Matthew Golden, if he becomes the wide receiver one for the Packers, not that I necessarily think he will, but there's an opportunity there for him. And then I feel like they'll take two wide receivers, then I can come back round and get my quarterback. And that's what I'm gonna run that risk. And it worked.
That's one of the receivers I wanted.
So there. I'll just take Daniel Jones because the chance of the rest of the AI teams not taking a quarterback before my next pick isn't there. So I'll take Daniel Jones. So my two picks there were Matthew Golden and then Zach Charbonnet and Jaden Higgins went, and then I took Daniel Jones.
Okay. Um, so back to me, a massive run on running backs there. We've had right for Jordan Mason, Woody Marks, Trey Benson, and Emmett Johnson all taken off the board. Um, Next few positions, I could potentially try and get a little bit more in the tight end room. I don't um see well, not obviously the opposite, but I am one of those thinking the Minnesota Vikings won't come close to. I think they're coming fourth in the division this year. Um I made that clear like 2 months ago because I think whether I believe in Kyler Murray or not, I just the situation they've got as a whole in there, it's one of those kind of years. So I'm not overly confident in getting someone like TJ Hawkinson in. AJ Barner, not only is he a Michigan man, but he's also much like JJ McCarthy, national champion Michigan man. He only played for Michigan for the 1 year, but that was the year they won the national championship. Potentially, might look to go and get an extra tight end there. Um, just as a bit of insurance. However, actually, I don't know. Slim pickings at the moment. If you're looking at the list there, it's really slim pickings.
It is. It's got to the point. I mean, we were talking before about benches being bigger, but we're talking now, and
Yeah,
it's rookie sort of long shot territory, or old and reliable just to get you some points on a
I'm gonna
bye
go.
week.
I'm gonna go all reliable big blue AJ Barner because
There
why
you
not?
go.
Right, so in between mine and Fletcher's pick, annoyingly again, literally, I had two people queued that both gone, Jalen Coker and Rashad White. So let me just do some research. By research, I mean let me just look at two names that stand out. I do need another running back, but I am going to take another receiver first, and it might probably be a waste of a pick, but it's worth a shot here because everyone else says
I know
not
who you're
very
taking.
good. It's not a waste of it. It's Deebo Samuel. But mate,
I
listen,
know.
right. So Mike Evans injured, Ricky Parcell out for the year. There's I can't do the zip. How do you say his name? There's Striblin, the rooker,
Yeah,
injured, right?
Scribbling.
Yeah,
Deebo Samuel might like well at least early on in the season might lead them in targets. George Kittle's just coming back off an injury as well, bear in mind, right? So I'm taking Deebo. Who did you think I was going to go? Denzel
Travis Hunter.
Boston.
Travis Hunter.
No, I ain't taking him. Fucking he's a cornerback. Mate, their wide receiver room so loaded. I'm not taking him right. And then at running back, I did want to take Rashad White because I think they're doing the gap in talent between Rashad White and Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt might be the smallest between any starter and backup in the league. Like, obviously, I think all the other gaps are big, but I just don't think the gaps actually that big there. So it's left me in a position where I'm just taking a handcuffed. I've got Jonah Coleman in Denver. I've told you I don't like RJ Harvey. It makes sense for me to take him, but they've also got J.K. Dobbins, so that's the third choice running back. I don't like Jay Spears. Don't want Alvin Kamara. Don't want Dylan Sampson. Don't want Braylon Allen. I'm going to take Keaton Mitchell because McDaniel's been speaking very highly about him in the past game and stuff. He's probably not going to do much, but might be worth a shot. But like I said, it's not. I weren't spoiled for choice, was I?
I actually think that the other running back is probably the handcuff in Los Angeles. I think it's
But
probably
Kamani
because
Vidal,
just because he was so good last year,
he
and
was good.
head coach will look at that and go, I can trust him. He knows the system. He played really, really well whenever he got called upon. But Keaton Mitchell's come in and
Yeah, but you're
obviously
not heard. Kamani Vidal got injured first week of the season, so he's actually the handcuff. So I've heard anyway. So I've
he's underrated insurance running back according to Sleeper though.
heard.
But you aren't spoilt for choice. There is
um,
a player there that I thought you might have taken, but I'll wait to see if he drops to me.
But Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see his name until just then.
Um, so in between there, after Kiarn's just gone, we've had Jonah Coleman, Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill, and Dylan Sampson. There is one name I need to look for because I haven't seen him go yet. I haven't heard his name go. Um, and I'm looking at him this year potentially. Yeah, there he is. Um, I think he's someone I could pick up on waivers in a long time. This is someone who, if you look at ADP, I mean, what pick are we on now? What number?
Uh, 146.
146. So if you
Yeah,
look
I
at
believe so.
ADP, this is quite the reach, but I want to make my statement on him. Um, I think he's about to have his true breakout year. He's dealt with the GM of his franchise this off season going on about how he never wanted him. Then the video being released where the GM during the draft, when
Okay, yeah.
he was drafted, being like, I want him, I really want him, I love him, he's great. Uh, at the
You
same
know who
time,
it is, Kian?
Yeah, I do, unfortunately. Mate, let me tell you now, mate, it's not breaking out. But, mate, fingers fucking crossed it is, but
I mean, oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure you would want him to, but I really like him as a player. I think he's got a ton of talent, and I'm not saying that Sean McDermott specifically was holding him back. But we know that the current head coach, previously of his offensive coordinator, really, really believes in him.
yeah.
Give me Keon Coleman to have a surprisingly good year.
Very positive things coming out of training camp as well. Obviously, I follow, I'm a Bills fan. I follow a lot of like Bills pages, and everyone is speaking really highly of him. And then, like you said, I don't necessarily think McDermott holding back, but like you said, we don't really know if he was really wanted in Buffalo. Considering bear man, Lad McConkey went 2 picks later, that'd have been all right, but it's one of them ones. So I hope he breaks out. And like you said, Dookie's got such a good personality as well. You want him to do well,
He is a great young man. He is the kind of person that I think, you look at some of the players in the NFL. I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know about. He's not the type of person you'd want to go for a beer with, but you'd want to go fishing with him or something.
Yeah,
Because you could somewhere where it's a boring activity and you still all day, but it's going to be fun all day because
yeah.
you're with Keon Coleman, like a phenomenal young man, but also like I say, very 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 talented. I loved him in college. I think I really really I want the best for him. So maybe this is a bit of my own projection here, wanting him to do well as well.
What's before I make my pick, what do you reckon the ceiling for Keon Coleman? Because Keon Coleman's someone I mentioned earlier in the off season, and I said how I have been picking him up at the end of dynasty drafts because he's worth the shot, and I think Kian laughed at me.
Yeah,
What's
well
his
again.
what's his ceiling? Do you reckon? What
Mate,
realistically, if he had a good season, what do you think he'd be like?
what
Top
fantasy
30,
wise?
top 36? Yeah, fantasy wise,
No,
yeah.
not top 36. I don't think the Bills. I don't get me wrong, I love my Bills, but you need to imagine we're going to have a top one quarterback in the league, not top two, three. He's going to be quarterback one. James Cook apparently is being so much more involved in the pass game as well. So we've got an offense that currently supports the quarterback one, a top five running back, and then it also needs to support DJ Moore, who could have a top 24 season, Khalil Shakir, who will still probably out. I know he's not really got the touchdown upside that Keon Coleman may have. So. It wouldn't surprise me if Keon Coleman was in the top 50 range, but I'd be surprised if he snuck into the top 36.
I
I
don't
think as well, we're going to be one of them teams. I know it's the trend in the NFL, which start using like two or three tight end sets. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kincaid and Dawson Knox both just being used constantly as well.
Yeah.
yeah I don't think that this Bills team. I mean, you can kind of correct me here if you need to, Kian, because I don't watch the Bills. I don't see as much of the Bills that you see far more than I do. I don't think it's built to have a true wide receiver one. The way you've got James Cook, the way you've got Josh Allen, it's built to have
Mhm.
those two and then pieces around that elevate everything else. But it's about what Josh Allen can do and then James
Ultimate,
Cook.
Ultimately, yeah, it's the same. For instance, mate, it's the same if you like look at the Bengals offense. The way the Bengals offense is, it's not like I said, it's not there to facilitate a proper wide receiver one. I know Zay Flowers is all right. Zay Flowers ain't better than DJ Moore, by the way. I don't think Zay Flowers is all that. I know he just got paid like it's Justin Jefferson, but
You
like
mean Ravens? Sorry, you said
Ravens, sorry,
Bengals.
Ravens.
Yeah.
So who did I say?
Bengals. I was
Uh,
like, not
Oh
a
no,
wide
so I
receiver
was going to go
one.
on to the Bengals side, but like, if you look at like the people who are like proper fantasy wide receiver ones, right? Not many of them play with a mobile quarterback. Like you said, if you look at Jamar Chase, pocket passer Joe Burrow. If you look at CD Lamb or George Pickens, pocket passer Dak Prescott, like it just I don't get. It's a weird one. Unless we were really, really like proper blowing teams out every week, I'd struggle to see it. But I do think he has the upside. I just don't necessarily think now DJ Moore's in town as well. He does. And then we've got Skylar Bell as well, haven't we? We drafted Skylar Bell. I know it was a fourth round pick, but really good college receiver. I know he played Fletch Jr. He played at UConn, didn't he?
hmm
So I know UConn ain't like a massive. I know. By the way, that's what I never understand. How can a school be like the best basketball school in the world, UConn, but not very good at football?
That is a question for not this pod, and I am more than happy to go through that
Yeah,
conversation. But obviously, we'll finish this draft
yeah, yeah, of
first,
course,
and
mate.
then
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to round out the position I'm lightest in is tight end, and I'm going to take a guy who I think could have a really big breakout season. The addition of Stephon Diggs sort of hinders it a little bit, but I'm going to go Chikakunquo. I think he could be a top 10 tight end for the season. And the last pick of the draft went to Team One, and that was Jalen McMillan, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver. So if we just before we wrap up the episode, we'll just have a recap our teams, see how we feel about our teams, and like over the next 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll probably call it. So, Kian, do you want to start picking from the 12th spot in the first round?
Yeah, so it's like, I picked 12 and I've shout out, like you said, my first three picks, I know like you just look at it, it's just talent, ain't it? Christian McCaffrey, top five talent at running back. Justin Jefferson's the best wide receiver in the league. No, but I know that doesn't always translate to fantasy, but he's talented. Brock Bowers, arguably the best tight end in football. But I think with that, CMC gives me a ridiculously high floor. And then with Jefferson and Bowers, like, I know there was poor last season. I can bet on the upside this season. But then going off that, that Prescott. I think you was on that episode, Liam, but it was one of the quiz questions. Like he's averaged 15 points a game every season. He's had a fully healthy season. Great floor. And Mekrig Book and Bashal Tutin are both kind of yet again better than upside. I've gone double insurance at quarterback back to back. I went Kyler and Baker. Kyler's got the upside, Baker's got the floor, so one of them's going to work out. I then took Dallas Goddard, who's got, like I said, such big touchdown potential. We've seen that last year. It's hardly going to vanish now. AJ Brown's gone. If anything, it's even better. I took Jadavian Price it again. I don't think Zach Charbonnet is going to be 100% to begin with. Then I went three receivers are all kind of well, Stephon Diggs and Debo are on the older side, but Josh Giles has got upside. He's young, like Fletcher was saying. The Shane Steichen offense is so fun. It is so good. Like it's worth a pick. And then I took Keaton Mitchell as my last pick because Kamani Vidal's injured, but you two just haven't seen that yet.
Excellent. I think it's a good team, mate. I think it's really well
Thank you.
balanced. So yeah, good. Good. And choosing from the 112 as well, you obviously chose to bypass a lot of the what you deem as the super elites, but I think you've put together a really good team.
Thank you, mate.
Fletch, do you want to review yours quickly?
yeah. So obviously, I've gone Puka Nakua, Trey McBride, Chase Brown. I was going to say Chris Brown. Then I was like, not even sport that he plays. Chris Olave, Javonte Williams, Jared Goff, also known as Jared Vick, also known as the greatest quarterback to ever walk the planet Earth. Christian Watson, Bryce Young, Parker Washington, Mark Andrews, Tyron Tracy, Sam Darnold, AJ Barner, national champion AJ Barner, and also finally the true wide receiver one for 2026. Absolute steal in round 14, Keon Coleman. I've tried to go with a little bit of balance, I guess, I think, throughout most of the team. Something I try to do when I do fantasy is I mean, I do get into it sometimes, but I try not to get into being all in on wide receivers or all in on running backs or all in on quarterbacks or anything like that. Try and stay balanced and try and get at least high enough, again, raise the average of each of those positions rather than having, um, and which I think as a whole I've done, especially in those first five picks, sorry, those first six picks, I made sure every position was accounted for that would be a guaranteed position in the team: two running backs, two wide receivers, a tight end, a quarterback, making sure, and then making sure each of them has backups. Um, there aren't too many clashes in terms of which bye week someone's on, so I'm not going to have a week where I have to drop a load of talent. So I think as a whole, what I've done with this team is um I've gone for some safe options who are your safe veterans. They're guaranteed to get some points consistently throughout the season. And I tried to, again, I think a lot of them are relatively safe picks, not and yeah, I think it's a relatively, again, it's balanced more than anything that I feel like I've got within the team.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to harp back one more time to you get two extra points in this league for passing touchdown, which is where I think Sam Darnold's really going to show his value. I think Jared Goff's going to really show his value, and then Bryce Young as well for a little bit of some slightly different flavour at quarterback.
Yeah, I think you've also got like in your first three picks, even though one was a tight end, you've basically got three wide receiver ones, which is lovely. Lovely to have. Good team, Fletch. Well done. And then over to mine. Different approach. I ended up going RB heavy, and I went on value. So I picked from the 102. So I went Bijan Robinson, him or Gibbs, either way. But I went for Robinson. At the time of my selection, he had just signed a new contract. But during the draft, as we had the breaking news, Gibbs signed one. And then I went Omarion Hampton and Devon Achan next. That was pure value. I felt like they're the better players who were around me. And I also know the running backs get very scarce as you get halfway through the draft. So I was very happy to lock them in early. Then I went Rashi Rice, Colston Loveland, and Jordan Tyson for starting my receivers off. My quarterback, I waited to the seventh round and I went for Matt Stafford, who I think is great value. Followed that up with Brian Thomas and Chuba Hubbard to again support what I'd previously picked. QB2 Malik Willis, not a lover of that, but he's got upside. And then I went for some younger, higher upside wide receivers in Casey Concepcion and Matthew Golden, and ended the draft with my third choice quarterback in Daniel Jones and a backup tight end in Chigakunkwa.
Lovely.
So yeah,
Very solid, nearly as good as mine, mate. Aye.
yeah. Try to just get the balance, get the volume really, because I don't often like picking from early in the draft.
Yeah,
I like
neither do
more
I.
middle
Like
and towards
obviously
the end.
when we was doing I say your 10-10-10 league, when obviously because I got the option to pick,
Yeah,
so I always like to pick it down because there's so much less of a headache. It's so like, I know what I'm doing. It's
yeah,
yeah. If I'm pick like for instance, if I'm picking at four and B John, Jamar and Jameer have gone, sorry, Jamar and Jameer tongue twister. I'm always like, is it Puka? Is it Jerson? I know it is Puka, but I'm always like CMC. I hate it. Hate it.
yeah,
I hate the middle rounds more than I think once you get past round three in particular, I hate drafts because I think once you get into round one, you have your idea when you go into a draft, right? You say, Liam, you are a running back heavy person. Kiarn's a wide receiver heavy person. I'm okay taking a quarterback really, really early. Either way, the board is going to fall some way the way you are happy wherever you pick. Unless you're a running back friendly person, you're towards the end of round one and all the really good running backs are taken. But likelihood is, but you will be okay taking someone who's one of the better wide receivers. It means one of the really good wide receivers still on the board, or one of the really good quarterbacks is still on the board. Round one tends to be kind of easy. No matter what you want, something falls your way really, really well. Whereas those middle rounds, you are competing against everybody else's draft philosophy. So it could fall really well, and you end up finding that no one else really likes running backs or takes running backs. So running backs tend to fall. Or you could have ones where everyone really likes running backs, and by the end of round three, you're kind of stuck on where to go at running back. So I think it gets really horrible, I think, in rounds 4 to 5 when you really start to fill out your team but your options are more limited, and you start to get into when we did the top tens, for example, in some of the positions, filling it out past three and four in most positions is a bit like it's what you prefer or what you think might happen. And it's based on so many more variables. Joe Burrow, but it's if he stays healthy. Dak Prescott, but it's if he stays healthy. Bryce Young, but it's if he can get the offense together. And there's so many variables that go into those rounds. Wide receivers, it depends on who takes the bulk of the load and running back. So I think once you get past those first couple of rounds, that's when it really gets stick. And then towards the end, as you said, it gets a little bit easier because you can just you feel like you're taking punts half the time. So,
Yeah.
or oh, he's there. I'll take him. Go on then.
Yeah, it's I thought it's obviously we've gone against AI there against the bots as well, and obviously that'll change in your home leagues, but obviously try and understand your league that you're playing, like your league mates you're playing against, and like for example, if somebody is RB heavy, then know that if you're like play the like my thing there, I was talking through playing the turn, so looking at what the team who's going to be picking after you have got and then trying to get what they need first. If you're going to pick between a wide receiver and a quarterback, and they've got two quarterbacks, then go wide receiver first and quarterback second will
Yeah.
help that you get the value that you want there. And yeah, don't worry if there's a guy that you want. Don't worry about overreaching, like reaching early. Obviously, don't go 3 or 4 rounds early. Don't even go 2 rounds early. But if you on the turn, like where Kiarn was picking from and where I was picking from, if there's a guy that you don't think will make it back to you and you really want to have him in your team, it's okay picking him 10 places early.
Yeah.
So do bits
Right
and
now.
pieces like that,
I
and
think
yeah,
just on that, I think this year more than any, I've been on a turn in most drafts I've been part of, whether that's at the start or whether that's at the end. And I've done both of those things where I've been conservative and taken the safe option and hoped that they would fall. And I've done the thing where I've taken them early. I have never once felt guilty taking them early,
mm,
but I have felt horrible when I was conservative, took the safe option, and they didn't even make it past the next 5 or 6 spots, let alone
yeah,
get back round to me on the next round.
yeah. Don't come away from a draft thinking, oh God, I really wish I, because like if you miss a guy that in the like fourth, fifth round that you really wanted, you can leave a draft feeling really like disappointed. And try
You
and
end
have
up
fun during the
panicking.
draft.
I think you end up panicking. So my biggest problem has been with tight ends, and as we said, there's only one real tight end in any given roster at the end of the day. And unlike quarterbacks, tight ends have a huge drop off after a couple.
Yeah,
So if you don't, then you are really stuck because then there's a run on tight ends, and you probably miss the run. So not only do you not get the tight end that you want, but you also now miss out on the next five tight ends that you would have wanted in general. So I think, like you say there, it's not just a regret of one, but you lose all of them. Like you lose a lot of the really good ones, and you end up panicking on your next go. Oh, I can't take a tight end now because there's no good ones left, or no good ones at this point left. Wait a round or two, then another run of tight ends goes, and you miss out on that one, and you are stuck with someone's third string tight end.
yeah, yeah. But the most important thing is try and have fun in these
Yeah.
drafts. Try and have
Yeah,
fun. How
100%.
try going with a plan. Try and have some fun, and then don't panic and don't get too swayed and start going down different paths because, like you said, you missed that guy. At the end of the day, everyone's trying to get the best players. So, um, that was a great episode, guys. It was a long episode, so anybody watching, then yeah, you're in for a long one. But like, there's a lot of insight there. Very good doing a mock draft at this time. This time the off season because we are a month now away from the regular season starting. So there'll
Thank
be
God.
drafts galore. Yeah, keep an eye on the news of injuries and signings and stuff like that, and cuts in training camp and
By
coming out the back of it. So yeah, but do reach out to us. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Let us know how your drafts are going, and we will see you next week when Sam should be back, and I won't be here. I'll be on holiday in Europe, so I'll be enjoying myself at a festival. So you'll be left with probably Fletch, Kian, and Sam, and I'm sure you'll love it.
We will be here. But
But thanks
enjoy
very
your
much,
holiday,
everyone.
mate.
Thanks very much, and